Yes, we are completely and utterly different. Yes, it's different if a woman cheats on a man. And if a man is at a complete top level of his life and ticks every single box, and if he decides to be loyal, which some do, and I can be loyal, and I have been loyal, but there's also times in my life where I think, fuck it, I don't want to be, and get a new girlfriend every single day of the week. I can do that, and I can decide to do that. If a woman decides to do the same, purely because her value is high enough to attract so many males, because she's beautiful, for example, it is completely different. I'm going to explain to you why it's completely different, so buckle up. It's different. It's different. It's different. Well, I'll tell you why. It is impossible for a female to be promiscuous on a long enough period of time without devaluing herself, because she's fucking people she shouldn't be fucking.
4 in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and makeup, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay, we just gotta boom bada boom ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right, baby let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
Dead in the face, but jacked. 40,000 a year.
No, I don't like what I'm looking at. And men, like, especially too, as they get older, like, I like the salt and pepper. Like, they get sexier. Like, I don't want to date someone that I'm not attracted to. It's fine.
Would you date a guy that's a normal 9 to... Okay. Would you date a guy makes 40,000 per year and he's not hot? He's just like, all right. Average guy.
Average guy?
He has a little beer. He's like skinny, little beer belly.
No.
No.
I take care of myself. I'm in the gym 4 to 5 times a week. At whatever his salary is, to me, I feel like I still want to be attracted to the person that I'm with. And $45,000, well, you could be in the gym. A gym membership's $20 a month. Mm-hmm. So if I had a kid a year and a half ago, and I look damn good. So it's like, I would want someone who takes care of their body. Mm-hmm. So the beer belly is kind of where he lost me. It wasn't even really the money thing. It was like the attractiveness.
If you're at the repentance wall, ladies, it might be too late.
50%. Now, you'll see one day, and I've talked to women about this flip. You'll hit 50 and you'll be invisible to men. Mm-hmm. And because 90% of the men that are talking to you are trying to sleep with you. Like, gain 100 pounds, you'll be invisible. Get to 55, you're invisible to men. And so you putting yourself in those situations, it's disrespectful to the guy you're with. And he might not say it. He might not even have the courage to tell you this, but it's how they feel, and they can't help how they feel about it.
Earners have always had to settle for people beneath them. And when men did it, it was supposed to be a man's role. Now that women fought for equality, fought for freedom, fought to be able to get out here and work, you don't want to do what comes along with being a higher earner. You still want traditional relationship, and you want your husband to keep up with your earning power when you didn't pick him based upon his earning power. Then you penalize him. And then men see this and they're like, this is why men don't deal with women in your age range. They don't get married. Because you talk about respect, and none of this is about respect. It's about your income.
It's definitely not about my income. And
but to be honest,
what's wrong with you?
To be honest, in my 20s, what I was doing was just dating for fun. Dating, I'm going to be really blunt, dating rappers, athletes. And by time I was ready to sit down, I was already in my 30s, and I'm like, oh shit, like I've done give away my most precious years to just partying and being on a scene. And now that I'm in my 30s, I'm trying to date, and I really don't know what I like.
Keep going.
I'm trying to figure out what do I like, because for the past 4 years I've been engaged twice, and they weren't the one.
Have you been in therapy?
Yes, I'm in therapy now.
Let me ask you a question that you probably haven't asked yourself, because thank you for being honest, because I was going to get to it anyway.
Have you been distressed or perplexed? Emasculated, a book written by Edward Fields IV. Everything that needs to be known about men in modern time. Listen, men are not complex. They are misunderstood and unappreciated. Learn what men really feel, think, and desire. Also observe their struggle for acceptance, love, and belonging. A must read for every man in this classic book by Edward Fields IV, Emasculated. Go get your copy now.
All right, guys, we're about to get started in a minute. We're about to get started in a minute. But in the meantime, guys, get the likes up as we have a comprehensive show and a comprehensive conversation about the Andrew Tate call out Brittany Renner and modern women on just pearly things. And we're going to talk about tradition and also modernism and how they both play a role in the functioning of our women, but also how it play a role on many of our men. Get your pens and paper ready, guys. Sit back, relax as I bring this show to you live from the state of North Carolina. And we're going to have a very good and comprehensive show as we talk about why modern women are not getting it as a response to Andrew Tate. Let's do it. Traditional men are getting tired. Are they about to check out? Or are they going to get those passports and change the laws of their life? Fire for your mind, the kosher clinician. Fire for your mind, the kosher clinician.
Left it to the bank like left it to the bank like I got in it 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s. Left it to the bank like pedal to the floor, need no brake lights. In the dark, watching make light. I'm a star, got no stage fright. Please don't get me mad, I'm a nice guy. My baby say I'm cute, yeah, I'm tight fine. I be waking up when you go night-night. In a different zone with the time. Go. Left it to the bank like, I got in it 10s, 20, 50, hundreds, 10s, 20, 50, hundreds, 10s, 20, 50, hundreds, 10s, 20, 50, hundreds. I get it, I flip it and continue. I've been going dumb, I've been going mental. Going up, I'm on another level. All black clothes like a metal. Little this and this, little Ricky Rick. It's my grandmama, I'm her Nicky Nick. I just wanna love, but I've been hit or miss. I might up and leave, better take a pic. Laugh it to the bank like, laugh it to the bank like, I got it in 10s, 20, 50, hundreds, 10s, 20, 50, hundreds, 10s, 20, 50, hundreds, 10s, 20, 50, hundreds.
All right, guys, we're about to get deep into it on today as I bring it to you live from the greatest state in the union, the Tar Heel State. Guys, get them likes up. Let's have a comprehensive conversation as we talk about Andrew Tate and some of the shenanigans associated with modern women. Now listen, guys, modern women and modernism has caused a lot of men to check out. Many are checking out, not because they want to check out, but they're checking out because they're tired of the behaviors associated with modern women. I told you guys in the past that needs drive behaviors. Needs drives behaviors. And when men are not getting their needs met in a consistent basis, then they will either do one or two things. They will become indifferent, or they will find other alternatives that can help them become the better versions of themselves as it's for sustaining their soul, mind, body, and their spirit. And so these shows are very important, guys, because if you're going to move forward in 2023, and shout out to Mr. Palmer, he said that you got to change the law in your mind. And the way you change the law in your mind is by understanding that modern women, some, not all, will not change their behaviors. And many will not do what's necessary for them to get the outcome, to get the kind of men that they want. It's so bad, guys, that it's now seen not only in America, but it's seen in other parts of the world. And I think Jess Pearlie did an excellent job with this interview with Andrew Tate on yesterday. And she talks about some of the variables and the nuances of modern dating and relationships, and how, if I looked at it from the clinical lens, self-awareness is not profound, and neither is empathy. We live in a world where we've lost not only empathy for men, but we lost empathy for human beings in general. People are not as empathetic as they used to be. In the past, people were very empathetic, but people are not as empathetic as they used to be in the past. And because people are not empathetic, then that basically means that we're not listening to the concerns or the cares of men. And see, when you don't listen to the cares and concerns of men, not only are you shooting yourself in the foot, but you're shooting yourself in the foot as it relates to humanity. Men have inherent needs. Men have inherent worth. Men have inherent desires. And when those desires are not getting satiated, then something's going to happen. So the question is, why is Andrew Tate and international men standing firm in their masculinity while men here in America are actually falling by the wayside? And that's the question I will pose on today as we begin to start this conversation. Guys, do me a favor, get the likes up. Share this stream if you may, please. Share this stream and get the likes up. At some point, donate to the channel if you like what I'm doing. But we're going to break down this clip in a minute with Andrew Tate, Jess Pearlie things, Brittany Renner, and modern women. And you guys are going to begin to see the behaviors associated with not only modern women, but you're going to begin to see the behaviors associated with why so many men are beginning to check out. But the question remains is this: are international men more equipped to deal with some of the bad behaviors here in America? Are modern men in America or international men more equipped to deal with some of the behaviors here in America? And if international men are better equipped, what can we learn from it? What can we learn from international men that think like Andrew Tate? Because too many men are beginning to check out now. And we don't know the long-term implications of those said men checking out as it relates to how men are going to move forward in the future. What men tolerate now is not what men tolerated years ago. We didn't tolerate it. We didn't tolerate levels of disrespect. We didn't tolerate the levels of indecency. We didn't tolerate, relationships that were not beneficial not only to the man but also to the woman. You see, I'm a fair, equal opportunity employer. I believe that women should get the best outcomes that they should get, and also I believe men should get the same thing as well. But because my channel is primarily about understanding men needs and men's health, to me it's incumbent upon men to do what's best for them by setting boundaries and setting values like men of old. Because what we tolerate now, guys, men of old didn't tolerate it. They didn't tolerate the level of disrespect. Our women of the past had the ability to understand where men were coming from. But sadly now, we don't have it like we used to have it. And because we don't have it like we used to have it, something is going to give at some point. So give me a minute, guys. Let me put this information there. And please, guys, go donate to the channel, share the stream. Something is going on with this YouTube, guys, but hold tight. But why is Andrew Tate so frustrated with modern women? And I'm going to save this. And also, guys, I played the clip earlier. I'm going to replay it in a minute. What do you guys think about what Andrew Tate is saying? Let me replay this clip, and I want you guys to tell me if he's right or if he's wrong.
Yes, we are completely and utterly different. Yes, it's different if a woman cheats on a man. And if a man is at a complete top level of his life and ticks every single box, and if he decides to be loyal, which some do, and I can be loyal, and I have been loyal, but there's also times in my life where I think, fuck it, I don't want to be, and get a new girlfriend every single day of the week. I can do that, and I can decide to do that. If a woman decides to do the same, purely because her value is high enough to attract so many males, because she's beautiful, for example, it is completely different. I'm going to explain to you why it's completely different, so buckle up. It's different. It's different. It's different. Well, I'll tell you why. It is impossible for a female to be promiscuous on a long enough period of time without devaluing herself, because she's fucking people she shouldn't be fucking.
So what do you guys think about it? Was Andrew Tate on point? If you agree with what Andrew Tate is saying in theory, then tell me why. If you disagree, also tell me why you might disagree with Andrew Tate. But we're going to drop some fire for your mind on today.
Fire for your mind.
Donate to the stream and share the
culture,
content.
clinician.
And we're going to have a good show on today, guys, at some point. But share the stream, guys, and donate to the channel, if you may. And we're about to get deep into it about Andrew Tate and Jess Perlidine. And Jess Perlidine has been doing a phenomenal job in YouTube, adding to the conversation. She had a very powerful stream on yesterday. She's doing a good job with trying to add clarity to modern relationships and how modern relationships can and or impact men, but also impact communities, women, and children. Because this thing that we see now, guys, is not only something impacting men, it's impacting everybody. But if we're not listening to what our men want and or desire, then how can we get the best outcomes that are necessary for change? We can't get it. We cannot get the best outcomes that are necessary for change until we begin to hear and understand what our men are saying, what they want, and what their desires are. Because these behaviors now, guys, are becoming more and more prevalent, to the point, as I said earlier, a lot of men are checking out. So are you guys tempted to check out? And if you are tempted to check out, why are you tempted to check out in modern dating and also in modern relationships? What's causing you your state of perplexity? What's causing you to be frustrated and angry with some of the behaviors that you're seeing now? But in the meantime, I'm going to show you guys this clip. We're going to break this thing down because Andrew Tate did an awesome job killing the game with Just Perlidine. So hold tight.
In
In the history of humanity, across any culture, any book, any story, any fable, there has never been across the history of humanity any respect put on the name of a promiscuous female ever. Ever. You name the biggest conquerors that you can possibly name from history. Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, all of them. They all had 100 wives, bunch of children, big G, conquered the world. Normal. That is normal evolutionary biology. That's how men are designed to be. There's never been a single female who's been celebrated for her promiscuity ever in history. It's always been frowned upon and disgusting. So yes, we are completely and utterly different. Yes, it's different if a woman...
Fair use, fair use. And, you know, this is what I talked about, guys, on the show I had on Sunday or Saturday. And the question or the question that I posed on Saturday was this: can a woman that's had a very fun past expect to have all of her bills paid? I didn't say she couldn't get some of her bills paid, but should that woman get all her bills paid if she is a modern woman, if she was highly promiscuous and it's subjected to different men? But should that woman get all of her bills paid? Or should that woman only get a percentage of her bills paid based on her promiscuous past? But what Andrew Tate is saying is something that most men want to say, but they don't say it. A woman's value, guys, was closely aligned and tied to not only the mental health of that man, because, see, we're always talking about protecting women, but who's protecting him? Remember I told you guys, if you protect his six, which is his back, then he'll protect your six by giving you provision, security, maintenance, and protection. But see, when you're not protecting men, when you're not protecting their ego, when you're not trying to understand what a man wants in a relationship, guess what? That man can't be the best version of himself. That's why men in droves are beginning to travel abroad. Men in droves are beginning to check out because they're trying to get relationships that can not only benefit their psyche, but also benefit them financially, socially, morally, and also spiritually. But when we don't understand or ask our men the question what they want, then how can men get what they want? And how can men be sustainable? Relationships work best when men get their needs met and when women get their needs met. But sadly, here in America now, many men don't know how to advocate, won't demand anything better, and just tolerate behavior that's not conducive to their psyche long term. But Andrew Tate is breaking this thing down, and he's giving a lot of clarity in this conversation. And here's why. Hold tight.
Cheats on a man, and if a man is at a complete top level of his life and ticks every single box, and if he decides to be loyal, which some do, and I can be loyal, and I have been loyal, but there's also times in my life where I think, fuck it, I don't want to be, and get a new girlfriend every single day of the week. I can do that, and I can decide to do that. If a woman decides to do the same, purely because her value is high enough to attract so many males, because she's beautiful, for example, it is completely different. And I'm going to explain to you why it's completely different, so buckle up. It's different. It's different. It's different. Well, I'll tell you why. It is impossible for a female to be promiscuous on a long enough period of time without devaluing herself, because she is fucking people she shouldn't be fucking. There is no way she is sleeping with endless men, and all of them are either high-value men or treating her the way she should be treated. If you find a woman who slept with 50, 100 dudes, she's either fucking dudes which aren't at her level or haven't worked hard enough to...
And see, guys, this is what a lot of folks forgot to tell a lot of modern women. When you go away from traditionalism, where women were historically taught to value their body, to value their chastity, to value the things that are important for a man, then relationships were better and marriages last longer. But see, marriages are not lasting longer anymore like they used to, guys, because sadly, many women don't value themselves like they used to. Shout out to the good women, man. Shout out to the good sisters that are beginning to value themselves. Shout out to the good women that love tradition and traditionalism. Because, see, it's gotten so bad now that they shame you. But you guys are going to see where this woman in Brittany Renner actually talked about how she allowed men to abuse her and abuse her body, how she actually regretted it many times. But see, once you give your value away to multiple men, you can't get it back. So where's the fair exchange when that man say in a relationship he want his mental health more or less assuaged to the point he's not frustrated and angry because of what that woman did to him? Shout out to my man Gregory Scholar, always showing love. Gregory Scholar always showing love. He said, we as men have to be very careful. Just Brittany Renner and the woman's behavior in Miami airport is a reason for caution. Kosher, by the way, check out Boss later on Passport Brothers. No doubt I will, brother. And that is a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it. And so based on the polls, 24% of brothers said that, yes, are traditional men getting tired of women in relationships? And 96% of men that have voted, or women have voted, are saying that, yes, they are getting tired. And so, as a therapist, we look at the evidence. We call it collaborative empiricism. And collaborative empiricism basically means what is the evidence saying? And the evidence now is pointing to the men are getting tired and getting sick of the shenanigans they're beginning to experience here in America. And that can't be good, guys, long term to the psyche of a man. And I talked about it a few minutes earlier. We're going to get deeper into it. But because of your love offering, Gregory Scotland, brother, you are, Gregory Scotland, the #1 sponsor of this stream. Thank you, sir. Guys, we're going to get deeper into it, guys, and share the stream, please, and get the likes up, and let's get back to it.
Try and get the pussy. She was just too drunk to realize he's a loser who plays video games. Or she's fucking a top G who barely texts her back. So either way, she's fucking dudes she shouldn't be fucking, or a guy who's at the level who doesn't give her the right amount of attention. For a woman to find a guy who's truly on a level, who truly treats her the way she should be treated, that's once every couple years, if that. You ain't just gonna go out there fucking a new dude every week and say, yeah, he's worth pussy. Yeah, he treats me good enough to get my pussy. Da da da. And
y'all excuse the language, man. Y'all excuse the language. Y'all excuse me. Somebody said turn your mic. I don't know what that means. What do you mean turn your mic? Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, hit 1. If you can't hear me, hit 2. Seth Son 7 said turn your mic. I don't know what that means. I don't know if he means turn it up. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, hit 1. But anyway, back to it.
You know what's funny about the universe? It's actually beautiful about the universe because it's equal and opposite forces. When you devalue yourself, it's kind of like men can smell it on you. They can just look at a bitch and go, oh. And that's the way it works. So you have to be very careful as a female and sit and go, does this man truly deserve to fuck me? And if you think about it, the answer 99% of the time, especially if you're promiscuous, is no. So when a woman is sleeping around with all these men, she's devaluing herself. She's devaluing herself, and the world knows, God knows, the universe knows. When a man does it, he doesn't devalue himself at all. That's just the way it works.
Can I ask you a question? Wait, Esther, 1 second. Sir, may I ask you a question? What would you say if a woman now is married to 2 men?
Haram.
Why?
No, I'll tell you why. Let's talk about this. What is the difference between a man, let's say me, I have 4 wives, right? What's the difference between a man having 4 wives and a woman having 4 men?
You can impregnate the 4 wives at the same time.
You can impregnate the 4 wives at the same time, and we know who the parents are, right? So let's say you had 4 pregnancies, you know who the mother is because she's carrying the baby, and you know who the dad is, top G. If you had a woman with 4 men and she gets pregnant, who's the parents?
What about if...
No, I'm asking.
Okay,
do you know?
I ask, what if they're different races?
Answer
one white,
the
one black?
question.
You don't know.
Answer the question.
You don't know. Now, modern science can come along and maybe fix that for you, but that doesn't mean it's not wrong in the eyes of God. The idea of having a family, the idea of a child being born, one of the baselines for a new life to come onto this planet is for at least to understand who the 2 people who made it are, at least. If you have a woman fucking 4 dudes, you don't even know who got her pregnant.
So may I just say...
Disgusting.
Have you seen the twins that had 2 different dads?
Oh yeah, I saw that. May I just say something then? So if that is the case, yeah, if the one thing that you're meant to have is you, at least you know who the 2 people that put that child on earth are, then that's why promiscuity for men is also a problem, because they get women pregnant. Sometimes they don't even know they have children. That's haram, no?
No, it's completely different. It's different because you have to understand, I'm talking about humans. You look at humans from a societal perspective, but society has changed, right? So let's say 200-300 years ago, if a woman got pregnant, she needed a man to survive. If that man didn't take care of her during pregnancy, she was going to die. She couldn't work a job, she couldn't hunt, couldn't fish, whatever, right? A woman literally needed that man for survival. So if you were to come to me and say, I'm pregnant, but you've been fucked by 4 different dudes, I'd be like, who says it's mine? Why am I looking after you? None of them want to look after her. She will literally perish. This is why in most of the world today, still today, virginity is so coveted, and throughout all of history it's been so coveted, because that's the only way to ensure paternity. She's a virgin, I know that's my baby. She ain't a virgin, prove it's mine. Outside of this modern science bullshit, Shaitan, the devil we have here in the West, in most of the world today, without virginity or at least a low body count or at least anti-promiscuity, you can't tell that that's your baby. So it's a.
And see, guys, that's why I say it does matter. A person's past matters to a man that want a traditional woman that he can start a family with. But see, when you deal with some of these women now, guys, you don't know what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the baggage from the past. You don't know if that child is yours. And Andrew Tate is adding a lot of clarity to why what a lot of traditional men in the past thought. Many are still thinking that. But many of you men have been shamed into silence, and many times you don't say anything. You just suffer in silence. You don't talk about it. You don't say anything because you don't want to offend anybody. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting your needs met, don't ever let another man or woman shame you for what your values are. I believe a woman should have the right to say what she wants in a relationship if she meet those standards of that man and that man meets her standards. But you can't expect to sell a product that you're giving to many men for free, and then you expect a man to value it when you didn't value it yourself. That's the consequences of promiscuity. That's the consequences of living in a world where we don't value what men value. See, when a man knows he got a woman that values her body, then he can rest. That's part of masculine protection, knowing that his ego can rest. But like I told you guys about the open box principle, once that box has been opened, you can't expect a man to pay full price for it because it's been opened. And that's why I said that I do believe a man should pay the large majority of the bills, but men are not paying all the bills for women that are not virgins. They're not going. It doesn't make any sense. But we pay a percentage, yeah. But I can't pay all of it because you're not traditional, neither are you a virgin. Only virgins that have been raised right and raised traditional, in my opinion, deserve to get all bills paid. Everything after that should be prorated and based on a percentage. But that's how I was raised, and that's how my mom was. And I think men, y'all need to raise up the bar because they'll tell you if you only make $75,000 a year, that's not enough. They'll tell you don't make 100. So you need to set standards just like she's setting standards. And those standards should be based on your value. And most women value money when it comes down to relationships and security. Not all, but many do. A lot of men value chastity when it comes down to the relationship. Most do, but not all. So men should have the same level of value for what they want in a woman and for what they want in a relationship. Because, see, traditionalism is eroding away. That's why men are beginning to get their passports and travel abroad. They're trying to find women from traditional cultures like where Sweet Lulu Bean is from and other women to get that kind of outcomes that they want when it comes down to dealing with women. And Merry Christmas to you guys, by the way. And guys, do me a favor, get the likes up. If you have not shared to the channel, please share. Shout out to my man Greg with Scholar for showing love earlier. Donate to the channel, get the likes up, and share the content. So we're about to get back to it, guys. Hold tight. Hold tight.
Completely different thing. You're looking at the idea of a woman being pregnant and coming to a group of men and saying, one of you has to take care of me and put up with me when I'm fat and moody and annoying and I need my bills paid. And all the men are going to sit there and go, no, fuck no, prove it's mine. You can't prove it, bounce. Where it's different. If I get 4 women pregnant, we know the deal.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So obviously back then for survival, women needed a man. Otherwise, when they were pregnant, they could die and all of these things, they would perish. In today's society, given evolution, given the fact that as women we can go
still
and get...
need men.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that. Isn't there a glitch between what is actually happening and the nature of what we have in our bodies? I think that's probably the conflict that we're having right now.
Glitch in what way?
In the sense that women don't feel like they need men in the most physical sense. Perhaps like...
And guys, this is what's happened. A lot of women have lost the concept of reason. They have lost the concept of reason. That's why a lot of men are leaving relationships because a large portion of our women lack reason. Their feelings matter more than logic and reason. And when your feelings matter more than logic and reason, then men are saying, why are I or why should I be in a relationship? Men need to be with women that can somehow have a certain level of reason. But see, modern women have gotten so unreasonable as it relates to what men want traditionally, that men are beginning to check out and say, enough is enough. And just like Andrew Tate is asking this woman about reason and about men needing women, it's just common sense for men. Listen, men created the world that children, men, and other women benefit from. Men created the world. Women create homes. Women create nurture environments for the children. Just like the womb nurtures the baby, the man creates the environment on the outside of that. But sadly, so many modern women now, guys, they don't believe that men can create or men do create. And because of that, their level to reason has caused a lot of men to say, you know what, why am I in a relationship? Keep listening.
naturally.
It's very interesting. Women don't feel like they need men in a physical sense because life is soft, but it's bullshit. And it's bullshit because you still need men by proxy, one, and two, the second life gets difficult, you very quickly learn how much you need men. But women will go, I'm independent, I don't need no man because I have an OnlyFans and men pay my OnlyFans, and if anyone comes up to me, I'll call a male police officer. I don't need men. Shut up, you fucking idiot. Of course.
And see, this is what people don't understand. You might not need a man for a relationship as it relates to sexuality, but you do need mankind. You need mankind to help keep you in a safe environment. You need mankind to repair the plumbing and the electricity. You need mankind to pave the roads for you. You need mankind in a consistent basis. But see, because as I said earlier, many have lacked reason, that many men now are saying that the modern woman has become unreasonable to deal with because she cannot see outside of herself and she can't see outside of her feelings.
You do. You just named your whole life is based on fucking men. The road you're driving on was paved by a man. The house you're living in was built by a man. The car you're driving was designed by a man. Your whole life depends on men. And the second anything bad were to happen to you, the second you were physically threatened, or times were to get hard, or war were to start, or famine, or riots, the first thing you do is find a big strong man, shit yourself, and throw the feminism out the window. Feminism goes out the fucking window the second that the snow needs shoveling, or there's a fucking broken down car, or the tire needs changing. Then all that crap vanishes. It's garbage. And this is the very interesting thing. I'll make a point here, which is going to get me canceled again, but I don't give a fuck. But this is the point. Feminism in and of itself can't be defended. The point of an idea is that it can be defended by the people who believe in it. This has been the whole point of war since the dawn of time. It doesn't matter if it was the Christians against the Hindus. It doesn't matter if it was the Germans against the French. There were people who had ideas and ideologies, and they were prepared to fight each other to defend their ideology. Feminism is an ideology which cannot be defended by feminists. The only people who could defend feminism are the men who subscribe to the garbage. If all the feminists were to get in a line and say, we want feminism, and the conservative men were to get in a line, you would learn very quickly it's bullshit. I had a friend in Afghanistan when Taliban kicked America out. And he told me the Americans were telling the girls they could go to school. So they built all these girls' schools, and they put the Afghanistani Defense Forces there, and they funded the Afghanistani Defense Forces to protect these schools. You had American satellites, you had night vision goggles. Taliban were afraid to attack. America leaves. Now you have Afghani Defense Forces. They're basically blind. They don't have satellites anymore. Don't have night vision, whatever. So now it's a real war. The men are standing next to this girls' school. The Taliban are coming. You're some dude. You're standing there, and you're looking at this girls' school going, I don't really give a fuck if girls go to school. Bounce. And you didn't fight. So that's why they all gave up and Taliban took over so quickly. And when I said this, the girls like, yeah, they should have fought for us, feminism. Why don't the women fight?
Can I ask?
Oh, wait, the women can't defend their own fucking idea. You need men to defend feminism. So that's why the whole thing is stupid. So the second men don't defend it, it just fails as a fucking ideology.
And let me explain something to you guys, man. You know, one of the things I talk about when I talk to other young men is setting boundaries in relationships. And the way you set boundaries is understanding what your worth is as a man. You set boundaries by knowing that you have inherent value and you have inherent worth. And so when you know what your values are and you know what your worth is, then you don't continue to tolerate behaviors that are not conducive to you long term. That's why these conversations are so important, because some of you men in the past have had thinking errors that has more or less reduced your ability to love yourself and to honor and respect yourself as a man. But see, when you begin to love yourself, when you know what your worth is, when you're able to look outside of unreasonable women, then you don't continue to tolerate the behaviors that you continue to have on a consistent basis. Shout out to my man Top Gun for that $20 super sticker. Thank you, brother. He said, have they asked him the age-old question? Who hurt you? shout out to my man Top Gun, man.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for your
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Who hurt you? And he's right. Because anytime men begin to use reason when it comes down to dating and modern relationships, then the question might be who hurt you, because many lack the reason to understand where men are coming from. That's why, as I said earlier, reason is actually losing its steam. Reason is actually falling by the wayside. And that's why men get censored. Men like Andrew Tate get censored. But see, when you're in other countries like Colombia and other bigger countries, you don't get censored for speaking up or telling the truth. But you do get censored here in America. And that's a problem, guys. That's a problem, because I believe that everybody, as long as it's protected by law, should have the right to say what they believe in and have the right to speak what they believe in as well without being censored or more or less canceled to say the least. Hold tight.
It's garbage.
May I tell you something now? So this is the thing. This is when we assume that women perhaps don't have the physical or even mental ability to go to a war. Wait. Because this is the thing. For example, in Ukraine, a lot of women took up arms. And in fact, I'm Angolan. I'm Angolan. I'm Angolan. And
don't lie.
Listen,
to the people at home.
Wait, don't worry. I'll talk about my personal story.
Go to war? You want to fight the front lines?
Let me tell you something. This is the thing. I think it's also really like silly to assume that, for example, a woman, because she didn't go to school, she'll not be as intelligent as a man. Therefore, naturally, a woman is not intelligent. No, it doesn't make sense. If we're now starting to normalize equality and we want to put everybody in the forefront, give a woman a
Who's
gun.
normalizing equality?
Well, that's what people are wanting. Then that's
people
the case.
like who?
Let me tell you, Auntie.
Who wants to normalize equality? People like who? Feminists. Who else wants to?
Well, actually, no equality. I want respect. That's really all I want.
What's stopping you from getting respect?
No,
I get respect.
I get respect. I get respect.
So,
that's what I want. That's what I like.
Respect.
What I think is,
you don't even know what you want.
I'll tell you what I want.
Know what you want. You want equality,
as a woman, I carry myself differently. I actually hold.
And shout out to Auntie Jenny. Auntie Jenny is old school. She's from the old school. And sadly, many said they want equality and respect only when it benefits them. They want equality and respect, but they want equality, but they don't want equality of outcome. And I think that's why so many men are frustrated with modern dating and also modern relationships. There's a war between traditionalism and modernism. Traditionalism, for the most part, sustained the world. But sadly, modernism is slowly destroying the world because it lacks reason and it lacks the understanding of what men want.
The things that I have done in the fights that I fought, I hold it. That's why when you speak to me, I don't move different. I move different to many of the girls. That's why when you talk to me and you argue with me, I don't take it. You do sometimes. And I'll tell you something. A lot of women may have the accolades to be somebody, but they are uncomfortable to own that. And the reason why, then I would like to ask you, for example, I do need a man, for example, to, procreate. But other than that, I'm quite strong. And I would find a way to protect myself differently. With that mentality, what would be the man that would be for me then?
Denava, what would you do if one of these security guards broke into your door?
What would I do? Okay, I'll tell you.
What would you do? What would you do? No, seriously, there's no guns here.
She's a feminist.
I'll tell you. No, I'm not a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I'm a bit smarter.
Okay.
Either I'd play dead. One. Yeah.
Okay, they see you're not dead.
It's okay.
They
no,
see
I'd
you
be like
breathing.
this. And then if not, maybe I would kind of like be very gentle and comply to find a way to get out of it.
So
if they want to come and kill me, there's not much that many people can do.
But let's make an important point. You're talking about equality equaling respect. The way you get respect as a woman is by being feminine. There's nothing, we can be equal and very, very different. I'm not saying that there's not equality, but you've confused equality with the same. You can be equal with completely different things. You can have a bishop and an...
And see, guys, that's what women of old forgot. A woman's essence was in her ability to be feminine. A feminine woman actually calibrates the psyche of a man in a positive way. Auntie Jenny understands service. Part of you serving your man is being feminine, not only in your service and your delivery, but also having the requisite soft skills to deliver what that man needs in that relationship. But see, when you're not feminine, you're constantly arguing with that man, you're constantly being disrespectful to that man, then that man can't give you what he wants to give you. Women of old, like Auntie Jenny, respected order. They respected order. We're not saying that relationships in the past was perfect, but there was never a true black patriarchy. It was never a true black patriarchy. There was a semblance of a patriarchy, but it was never a true patriarchy. But she understands service and order and duty. Also, they respect order. But now, they don't respect order or service. Things are out of control. And because of that, you have men on the rise like Andrew Baker, you have Andrew Tate, you have the Passport Bros, and you have a bevy of men now that are beginning to travel because they're looking for traditional women that play a role of not only on their spirit, their mind, and their soul, but also those women that can give them the outcomes they need to be successful as a man. Until we start understanding what our men want on a consistent basis, then our women cannot ask men to come back in a spirit of servitude. As I said before earlier, men like women that are chaste in general. In general, that's what men like. I'm not saying all do, but men like women that value their body and have not given their body away to a bunch of men. Because that man came, how can he rest knowing that you've given something as intimate as your body to so many men? And I always tell people, you can do what you want to do, but we forgot to ask men what they want in relationships. And because we forgot to ask men what they want, then all of a sudden it's a problem. Because see, we don't talk about the women that height shame. We don't talk about the women that penis shame. We don't talk about the women that money shame or financial shame. We don't talk about those women. But as soon as men say what they want as far as, chastity, then they call it the S shame. When we talk about weight, we say fat shame. We always talk about things related to the woman as relates to victimhood. I believe the relationship should benefit men and women. I believe women should get what they want, and I believe the men should get what they want as well in relationships.
Knight on a chessboard. They're equal in terms of points, but they do different things, right? A woman can have equal respect to a man if she is very good at being a woman, and a man gets respect for being very good at being a man.
And that's why I always say, guys, once again, men and women are equal in essence, meaning they're essentially human, and they were created out of God's image, but men and women are not equal in role and design, where it's not. That's why men are so repulsed when they get with a woman and they realize that she's been entered by so many men, because men are not wired to have the thought of their woman being entered by multiple men. That's why women cannot accept a man that's been entered by multiple men, because most women cannot have the thought of that man being penetrated. I call it the penetration principle. Women don't want penetrated men, and men don't want penetrated women. But what men can tolerate or will tolerate many times, men are more tolerable when it comes down to a woman having a bi-curious relationship. But a woman is not tolerant because both are repelled by what's called the penetration principle. They cannot handle it.
A woman decides she wants to act like a man, or a man wants to act like a woman. That's where all gets fucked up. We try and pretend it's all the same. It's not the same. Men and women are good at different things. We have different strengths, different weaknesses. There's nothing wrong with accepting that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm a woman, I'm good at X, he's a man, he's good at Y. Then we work together as a team, we have a beautiful family, we're happy forever. It's only confused where you have women who sit and go, no, because in the name of equality, we can fight and work. There's no fucking women on the front line in Ukraine. That is psyop bullshit. They put some chick there dancing around doing Pokemon dances to try and convince men to go fucking die in a ditch. It's garbage. If you go to the front line of Ukraine right now, you do not see women in their makeup and their manicures. You see fucking men in the freezing cold dying. You know where the women are? Dubai, chilling. That's where the women are. So to sit and pretend that women are just as capable physically as men is a fucking lie. It's delusion. To say that you're as strong as men is delusion. You are good at other things. You're better than men at a lot of things, but it's not the physical world.
As many of you know, I was just banned on TikTok, and we are demonetized on a daily basis on this platform. If you want to help, please consider sending a super thanks below. Every donation helps, and it helps make what we do possible. Women, do you think that women can be happy without children? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think they can be happy. I know.
And guys, this is the question with Marlon. Shout out to Just Pearly Things once again, guys. Get the likes up. Share this stream, please, guys. I need 5 folks to share this stream because I'm about to drop some fire for your mind as we continue to have
fire
share the stream,
for
guys,
your mind.
Because what you guys are seeing now is a cornucopia of modern women and modern bad behavior. Women like my Auntie Jenny is rare. I remember those kind of women in the past because women like Auntie Jenny understood the importance of family and the need to have legacy. Women like Auntie Jenny understood the need to more or less respect her body so that her man can be happy. But you can't find purity in the streets anymore, especially to the 33% of men that are virgins, where those men get wives or where they get women that have honor and respected their bodies. And I would say unequivocally no. It's going to be hard for those men to get that. And because of that, a lot of men are frustrated. So what is that man going to get in return? Because fair exchange, guys, there's no robbery with fair exchange. There is no robbery with fair exchange.
Loads of women that put their career first nowadays. And I think a lot of people kind of underestimate how much a child will change your life because it's not something that goes away. Like if you want to go out for dinner or all the things you can do when you're by yourself without a child, you can't do them. You always have to have childcare. You know, it costs a lot of money. Childcare is very expensive. And there's always stress. There's always the worry of, is my child healthy? Is my child safe?
Well, sure, child care is expensive. That's why you create children in a healthy, sustainable relationship. You know, as a therapist, we talk about something called risk factors and protective factors. The risk factors are bad environments. The risk factors are inadequate income. The risk factors are not having a father around. The risk factors are not having sustainable nutrition. Those are risk factors. And all those risk factors play a role in the shaping of that child. But see, so many now guys have been so consistent with, things like career, and I'm not against a woman getting her career, that they put children and family on the back burner. Let me tell you ladies something that are listening. When you're on your deathbed, the only thing that's going to be important to you is your family. Family will be the only thing that's important. Nothing else will matter when you're on your deathbed. Your family is going to be the most important thing in the world. We understand that kids, I don't mean those kids are going to support you in old age. But my parents are old, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure my parents are taken care of, because family is important, and family also is very sustainable, more so now than ever. We need family. And so that's why it's so important. But like I said, women of old understood the importance of family. They valued it. And they valued their man, they valued their relationship. And they were a lot more happier. But a lot of our women have a lot more now, and many are less happy because of that. Make it make sense. Hold tight.
And I think that when you don't have a child, it seems very attractive. And in a lot of ways it is, if it's your dream to have a child. But you also have to compromise a lot of your own life. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it really depends on where you stand and what your mindset is if you would like to have a child. Obviously, some people, since they're young, they want to have a child, and they want to be a stay-at-home wife, and they want the family life and stuff. But I feel like nowadays a lot of women are also like, you know what? To be honest, I have so many dreams and goals for myself, and if a child would come in the picture, it's going to be more difficult. Mm-hmm. And I also don't want to, be there less for my child, mm-hmm. because the minute you put your career first, for example, for myself, if I'm a singer and let's say I would go on a tour, mm-hmm. am I going to drop my child with a nanny 24/7? Because mm-hmm. that child is not going to be happy mm-hmm. to see me 10 minutes a day reading her a book mm-hmm. or reading him a book. That's not what parenting is. Mm-hmm. So it's all these factors come into play. Mm-hmm. And I've been a nanny. I've seen it. I used to nanny for a billionaire family. And the parents literally sometimes would leave for 4 weeks. And then the child is with a nanny for 24/7. And the child calls the nanny mommy. So I feel like, it's very hard. And when people say to me, I don't want children, I think a lot of people judge them. Mm-hmm. But because I'm a nanny, I've seen how much of a pressure it is.
People that shouldn't have kids.
Exactly. And then for them, a child is like a Prada bag. It's like sick. I can put my money, when I die, I can give my money to a child. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you've been with your child for 10%. That's it, Mm-hmm. And then they drag their children to all these events, and they act like they're the great mom. And it's like, babes, you weren't here the whole day. And they're like, oh yeah, she's done this at school. And then the most funny thing is that my old nanny children would be like, Mom, you're just showing off. You're never here. And I would be like, or they would be to people like, do you miss your mom? And they were like, no, all she does is party and wear funky clothes. I was like, oh my days, that kid is 6. So it's like...
At 6?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's also a thing. Children are highly intuitive. They know, that's why children, when children really gravitate towards certain people.
100%.
And to some people they don't. Mm-hmm. It's because they feel safe with certain people.
They clock things.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think you can be happy. But if it's really your dream to have a child, and then it all comes falling down because you can't have children, mm-hmm. then it's a different convo, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Mm-hmm. When we go around, I also want you guys to say if you want kids yourself.
Yeah.
So do you want kids?
Yeah, I do want
You do?
children.
Okay. And then you want to go next?
For me, I have an 8-year-old.
Oh, you have an 8-year-old?
I am a mum.
Okay.
But I make sure it's very... Sorry. I have an 8-year-old. I am a mum. So, but I'm not... It wasn't planned, and I'm not maternal in that way. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if I didn't have him then, now, couldn't imagine anything different. But then...
And guys, that's a lack of self-awareness that so many modern women have. The lack of self-awareness as it relates to the importance of children and community. But I tell you guys, never put your life, your mission, your dreams, your hopes on hold for the sake of some of these modern women. You will be a fool, because they don't even value what you value. And for you to put your life on hold trying to rescue and save them, you will be a fool. Your focus and your mission should be yourself, Your focus and your mission should be a woman that can honor and respect you as a man. Traditionalism is dying and modernism has taken hold and taken place. And you know, you see all the stamps on her body. You know, that's typical with a lot of modern women. And Cortez, you're right. Of course it wasn't planned, because modern women think giving their body away to multiple men is okay. But these are the same women, when they get 40 and 50, they want that man to come back on the rebound and wipe that woman up and do something good for her. But it doesn't work that way. Guys, in the meantime, get the likes up, share the stream, and also donate to the channel. Guys, I hope you guys had a good holiday. But in the meantime, the robot told me to tell you guys, get the likes up. All right, so let's finish. Listen to this conversation. Hold tight.
And literally every person that I said, "Oh, I'm having a baby," they were like, "Why?" But it's just like it wasn't in the plan. But like I make sure my time is I treat my job as a job. I treat my socializing as like totally separate, as in like it's not. I never take anything away from him. He has my full attention at all times. He's my priority at all times. So in that sense, it's like, from a mum's point of view, like I would have been, if you'd asked me before I had him, I'd have been like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna have kids. Like it just wasn't in my plan. But now, because he's there, like I would not imagine life without him. Like he's my best friend. We do all like, I don't know, the bond is just there. Like no one can describe it. If you're a mum, you feel that. But I also have like best mates that have said to me, like, I feel like I'm just not gonna have kids. And then it's not like they say it as if they're not gonna be happy. It's just like, it's just not in their plan at that moment. But I feel like it's your situation. It's all to do with your relationship, and you're never gonna have a kid in like when you're in a bad space unless it's accidental, obviously. So I feel like if you're planning to have kids and you want to have that family life where you're married, your kids, you settle down, and that's like your dream, you cannot be happy without that, because that's your tunnel vision. You want that. So that's what it is. Whereas some people don't have that as their dream. Some people want to be ambitious and like build so much more in a career sense. So it's like, what's your priorities? Do you want the family life? Do you want this life? Or do you want an in-between? Are you ever...
And that's the problem, guys. So many modern women think they can have both. And it's almost impossible to have both. You can in part, but it's almost impossible to give that child everything that it needs if you're trying to more or less pursue a career full blast, unless you got a husband there to help you facilitate that, and he makes an adequate amount of money. But you can tell that this woman is similar to a lot of modern women: lack of awareness, lack of accountability as it relates to some of her decisions, and lack of valuing, understanding the importance of valuing her body. And Brittany Renner, as you guys will begin to listen to, understood the ramifications of that as well.
I'm going to be happy with either.
Do you feel like you would have been equally happy if you didn't have a child?
It's all, I don't know. That's an hard question, because like I was happy, but I was very young. I had him at 21. So it's like at 21, what worries do I have really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't know life as I do now. Whereas I feel like if I saw myself at 21, I would have said, no, I'm not having kids yet, blah, blah, blah. But me at 29, like, and then if you ask me then, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to. Whereas at 29, I'd be like, I don't know what I would have. I still live my life. We go and, like, we do things a lot together. Like, I don't see why he has to not be there for me to not have fun. Like, we go on dates together. Every Sunday we do as dates. Like, that's my life partner at the moment.
Do you want more kids?
It's just us. In my situation, I'm single, so no.
Okay.
Like, but it would not to say that would
for the right guy. Would you have
Yeah.
more kids? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you? Do you want kids?
So I always wanted to be a young mum, and then I turned 30 this year.
And guys, in the past, being a mom was a badge of honor. Women took an account of the honor to not only to be a wife, but also to be a mother. But what you guys seeing now is not a reflection of a healthy society. What you guys are seeing now is a reflection of decadence, moral depravity, something that's happening more at an all-time high. And because it's happening so much, as I said earlier, a lot of men are beginning to ask themselves the questions, what am I getting? What am I getting for doing the right thing as a young man? What am I getting for going to school? What am I getting for putting in the sweat equity to get these degrees? Because many men are saying they can't trust the typical modern woman. And it's caused a lot of men to be frustrated when it comes down to dating and marriage options based on what they're seeing at an all-time high now, which is dysfunction, lack of self-awareness, lack of empathy, but also lack of the things that men need and want to be successful long-term. That's why I said that we got to understand what men want. You got to ask your men what do they want in a relationship. But men, some of you have been so browbeaten that, you know, whatever she gives you, you just take it. Or she'll try to shame you. Say, well, you know, you're judging me on my past. Well, yes, I am going to judge you based on your past because you're judging me based on my future. Men have a right to say what they want in a relationship, just like women have a right. A woman has a right to say what she wants in a man. I don't have a problem with that. But just make sure you're able to back it up when that man starts having demands as well. The problem is when men start making demands and saying what I want, then all of a sudden it's a problem. All of a sudden it's shaming. All of a sudden it's missing war, however you say it. It's always that when men start saying what they want. And relationships should never be that way. Relationships should be beneficial and mutually beneficial for both parties. Hold tight.
And I actually had like a midlife crisis because I was like, I have no kids. I have no relationship. Like my career's good, but I want that like old school family, like that love, that life. And I did get sad thinking like, I'm not going to just settle and like have someone's kid just for the sake of having a kid. Like I want the whole package. So if I can't have that, like, am I ever going to have kids? And I did actually have a conversation with my mum the other day and I was like, do I need to freeze my eggs? And it was like a serious thing because I was like, what if I meet someone in a couple of years and, you know, like your body, you don't know what's going to happen to it as a woman. So it's quite a scary thing if it's something that you want.
Okay, what do you think?
I, from a personal perspective, do I want kids, first of all? Yes, I do want children of my own. I think, obviously, like some of the ladies have said, society pressures women to kind of think that that's sort of the road to go down, to have children, have a family, be a wife, potentially. And I think, especially where you reach a certain, well, women anyway.
Well, listen, here's the hypocrisy. Society also pressures men to be providers. Society also pressures men to be protectors. Society also pressures men to become problem solvers. But see, we don't care about the pressures that men that are placed on men, the burdens that men got to have as relates to building infrastructure, being civil engineers, putting their lives on the line, being leaders. We don't care about the pressures of men. But when we start putting pressure on women, because women were created, if you believe in theology, to produce the fruit of man and to nurture the seed of man, then all of a sudden it's a problem. And that lets you know, guys, how decadent this culture has gotten. It's gotten crazy. It's gotten weird. It's gotten dark. And that's why it's time for you men to start raising the mantle. That's why the passport bros and the passport game is becoming so strong. Because men are beginning to say, what am I going to get in the end? What am I getting? What am I getting for going to school for 4 years? What am I getting for making good choices in my younger years? What am I getting for having the money that I've accumulated in this relationship? What am I getting? Because a lot of men are saying they don't want a woman that's going to make them a rat. They want a woman that can honor them and respect them. But because so many men feel like they're not getting that anymore, a lot of guys are getting their passports and they're beginning to travel abroad, and they're beginning to find women that can help them become the woman that they need in a relationship so that they don't fall by the wayside. Because I'm a firm believer, guys, that having a good woman by your side is the most important day of your life. Hold tight.
On a biological clock, whether we like it or not, we are. And I think that keeps us, some of us, up at night knowing that. So having the thought of having children for most women is obviously a priority for most of us. But obviously most women would like a relationship, a foundation, a family. I think in today's society, looking at a lot of the relationships, especially the ones that are put on platforms and social media, a lot of them seem to be failing and collapsing. So I think, no shade, but it's real talk. So I think in one hand, you want, you do want children, but at the same time, you don't want to just settle down with anybody and end up in a worse situation. There are plenty of women out there that are single mums and are doing a great job, but still have always said they would have preferred to have done this with a partner. So I think it's down to...
And see, guys, that's the old cliche, the old talking term. They see their men as partners instead of seeing their men as leaders. And that indoctrination is so embedded in the psyche of so many women that they see you as a partner. Well, if a man is a partner, then you take turns pumping gas. If a man is a partner, you take turns defending the home. If a man is a partner, you take turns being providers. They want to have the power of being independent, but also they want the benefits of being traditional. And that's why it's a great chasm between traditionalism and also modernism. It's a great chasm, and there's a lot of consternation because we don't understand what men want in those said relationships. And that's a big problem and a big issue.
The individual finding their happiness. I think, like some people have said already, it depends on who you are, what you call and class as happiness, because some people's happiness are traveling, exploring, and some people are just free-spirited and they're interested in other things. Other people have that tunnel vision of wanting kids and a family. So to answer the question in terms of happiness, it will be obviously down to the person, but I definitely think that women should be selfish in their decisions so that they're not in predicaments and allow themselves to be pressured by not even just by society, by immediate people like family and friends.
How do you know it's society and not biology? Because, like we've done it a certain way for thousands of years.
I think it's a bit of both. I think because we all know that we're on a biological clock, we have we're all thinking the same thing, but also I think, I don't know, obviously we have things like social media where you see people uploading at a certain age that they're married. I've got lots of friends of mine that are engaged or about to walk down the aisle at the moment. And where you've been socialized to go to school at a certain age with your age mates, then you go to college at a certain age with your age mates, then you graduate, you get a job. You've been conditioned that at a certain age, you do the same thing as your age mates. When you get to a certain age and people around you are doing certain things, like getting proposed to, and you're not, it kind of does make you feel a type of way, if I'm being completely real. So did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. You and then you next.
That's fine.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't want... Oh, sorry. Is that better? I'm not gonna lie, I don't want children. And I think when I was younger, I used to
How old are you?
I'm 23.
And you don't want kids already?
I'm turning 24 next month, yes.
You're 24 and you don't want kids already?
I used to, when I was younger, I was like, oh, maybe if
How much younger? You're only 24.
No. When I was like 19, 18, 21, whatever,
Okay.
I used to think that maybe if I met somebody that really wanted children, I might change my mind and I might be like, you know what, maybe one kid. But as the older I'm getting, the more I hear about, first of all, pregnancy. Secondly, raising a child. It takes up so much of your life. And maybe I'm selfish, maybe I'm not, I don't know. But at this point in my life, I think to myself, I'm like, do I genuinely want to raise a kid?
And guys, that's what happened with the typical modern woman. She forgot her place. She forgot her importance in the world. She forgot how important it is to bring and nurture offspring that can create a better society. Listen, I get it. It's a risk bringing children in this crazy world now. I see why some people are reluctant. It's one thing to be reluctant for the sake of mental health concerns and crime and all that. But it's another thing to be reluctant for the sake of just being selfish. These will be the same women when they're about 40 or 50 or whatever, regretting and looking over their lives, expecting young folks in Social Security to come to their aid and protect them in their old age. Versus, I know that having kids is not a guarantee that kids won't come to your rescue in old age either. But I would say the odds might be higher if you raise your kids right, that your kids will come to your rescue when you're in old age. But see, women like this don't get it until it's too late because the value system has been diminished And the value system, guys, has been destroyed because the value system has been diminished and the value system is destroyed. They don't value traditionalism of old. Men, by and large, especially Gen Xers and maybe some of the millennials, are still traditional at heart. But a lot of our women are getting away from traditionalism. And guys, it's okay. You should too as well, until you can go somewhere and get the type of woman that you want.
No.
Okay.
I don't. I like children as well. That's the funny part. I love children. If my friends had kids, I'm going to be the fucking auntie that's fucking, do you know what I mean? I'm going to spend money on you.
Mm-hmm.
But to have my own child that I'm raising 24/7, I'm not doing those sleepless nights.
How would you think about being like 55 and childless? Like, you're
as
cool?
long as me and my babies are traveling, having a good time, I'm not finna have children.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. And then what about you?
I think it depends on what type of person you are. So if you're one of them people, depends on other people to be happy. Like, you rely on other people's happiness for your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna want kids to make you happy. Like, I've got friends who have got kids like Shan and stuff like that, and I've got friends who can't have kids, but all they want is a kid. But I know if they have that kid, it's going to make them happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it depends on your own person, who you are, whether you want kids or not, and whether it just depends what brings you happiness, really, I think. So some people's happiness is kids, some people's it's not, some people's it's traveling. Do you know what I mean? So to me, it don't really matter.
Okay.
I want kids. I want 2 kids. And I'm done.
As many of you know, I was just banned on TikTok, and we are demonetized on a daily basis on this platform. If you want to help, please consider sending a super thanks below. Every donation helps, and it helps make what we do possible. Would you prefer a guy that you could trust his judgment? Like, can you think of a man like in your life at all that you like genuinely, if he told you not to do something, you would do it just because you respect him so much?
One person, maybe.
So it's like that type of respect. Like, I'll give you an example. My dad, I respect him so much. I do my accounting, and I want to hire an accountant so bad. And I just look at her. She knows how much I hate it. I bitch about it. I bitch about it to everyone. Sorry, guys. I'll keep bitching. And I literally, because my dad says, you need to know your numbers, you need to do this. Like, I just do it because he says, and I don't want to do it. And it's like, that's the level of respect men want to have from us. It's like so much that even when you disagree, even when you don't want to do it, you just do it because you love them and you respect them. And it's someone that you trust so much, you know that they would never like abuse you.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of like relationship we aspire to have.
Yeah.
Is like because it has to be someone you trust.
Yeah. I feel like I have just never had that. So I think that's where the concert talk can get triggering, because you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, if I can't talk to you about the nail salon, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. I still need to have a life. I can't completely trust in your judgment because I can't completely trust you. Like, yeah, I do not have a man in my life, or really ever really have one. I said maybe to one, but even then, so if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no, right? So it's like, I've never had a guy where I feel like, yeah, if he says don't go, I'm not going.
But
that's what is where I'm working on myself, to where I can manifest someone like that, because clearly, like.
And see, guys, in the past, women had a healthy respect for not only the men they were dealing with, just men in general. They had a better respect. I'm not going to say it was perfect, but now, you know, you got to jump through hoops just to get basic respect. They don't, in essence, they don't really see value in most men, or they don't respect them as a whole, which is a problem.
There's something inside of me that's attracting these type of men, to where it's like, I need to correct something in here.
Well, and it's making the men of the future pay for the mistakes of your past.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's not his fault that you grew up how you grew up. It's not his fault, like, who you've dated before.
Yeah.
And it's like, we always hate when a guy comes in and we date him and he's like, you're cheating on me, da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's all up in our phone and like all this stuff. And you're like, I'm just trying to love you. Like, we can think of someone, but we do it to men all the time, where it's like, we can't submit because we're thinking, oh, we might do what that guy did or that guy did. Where it's like if a good solid man came in, like someone who loved you, respected you, and wanted what was best for you, said something, you're going to be questioning him, and it's going to.
And guys, a lot of these women have been traumatized due to bad men that had not only imprinted them, that hurt them. So by the time you get her, you got to deal with all the trauma And all the BS from the men in the past that impacted her or hurt her or made her broken. You have to deal with all the BS. Because they lack self-reflection, they lack feminine demure, and they lack impulse control. You have to deal with all the BS from all those men that hurt her, lied to her, and used her body and left her alone. Something that she chose to do, by the way. But we wonder why we can't have strong families anymore.
It's going to drive him off.
Yeah.
And
with that said, though, I'm not gonna lie. I look to have the man that I want for my future is a man that can inspire and teach me. That's why I.
You want a unicorn? I've talked to you enough about
I
that.
want a unicorn because I am a unicorn as a woman. What can I say? But I do want a man that when I say, "But babe, why can't I go though?" And he'll be like, "Look."
What if he said, "Just trust me"?
I would do that.
Even
Yeah,
just
hell
trust
yeah.
me, babe. Just trust me. I was like, you sure? Cool, then I'll trust you.
Just
It's just a reassurance.
Just how women have intuition.
I would never trust
men have intuitions that we can't understand, just how they can't understand our
Yeah.
intuition. But it was something you said earlier, Denava, about how you like to cook for people because it's just something you love to do and you love to have that experience with them. And it made me think about what Andrew Tate was saying earlier about how when a man is able to, I can't remember exactly what he said, but did he use the word inspire or he uses some word? But when a man is able to be that to a woman, that is like you cooking for your man. It's like that feeling that you get, like, oh, it's like a sense of just like, oh, like I love doing that for you. And that's how men are. They want to be able to be in that space where it's like only a man can be and be able to do that because they love doing that. And that's just innate in them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think though is a bit of a problem? I mean, well, like I've said, I've had good exes that have been good communicators, but then you guys say, oh, if a man's ambitious, he's got this, whatever going on, he doesn't have time to listen to you. I think that's not right because, like I said, I've had exes that want to communicate with me. So it's like, it is possible.
But you said
because they have men
You
that
said,
want to do that.
remember, I listened to your words.
Yeah.
And you said your exes lacked ambition. Bums love to listen. Bums are great communicators. Okay. Low ambition men.
My point is, though,
they love to listen. They're very.
It is possible. The reason these I value men feel like they don't need to be good communicators is because we women are letting them accept it. We're accepting that it's okay for you to be a bad communicator.
You're trying to because
we're older men.
You're going to men.
Standards.
You're going to men and saying, "Why aren't you perfect?" Like that's essentially what you do. Like you want
perfect.
That's okay. Again.
Talk
Okay.
to me. It's
Look
such
it.
a
Look it.
basic
Okay.
thing to
Okay.
ask
So
from a man.
my dad. Again, I've grown up. I know these men. Okay. Not the entertainers, the athlete. Them I do not know. But the businessmen, right? Like the 1% like businessmen. I grew up around them. They work 60, 70 hours a week. Do you want to come home from working 12 hours a day? Now you walk through the door, babe, this is what happened to me. This is what happened to that, and that. And then also I have this problem with you. Also, why can't you? And then he's like,
why are you not listening to me, babe? Are you listening?
So it's like he's working his ass off all day trying to provide for you. And now on top of that, he has to be your therapist. And now you might not look at it as therapy, but this is how the men see it.
But I've had rich men that do have time. It's just unfortunate I didn't like them. But the point is,
what did they do?
You
Okay,
guys
what
keep trying
wait.
to make it look like
Okay,
it's
so
not
what did
possible.
what did they do?
What?
What did they do?
What do you mean? What did they
Like,
do?
what did the rich man do?
Oh, they had business. He had a business.
And always selfish, lack of self-reflection, lack of understanding where other people are coming from, lack of empathy, and all the entitlement. And this, guys, once again, is a broader reflection of the kind of women that so many of these young men that are millennials and also Gen Xers and Alpha Zs are having to deal with. We have not adequately taught our women the importance of understanding, being empathetic to the men in their lives, whether it be the fathers or whether it be a man that decide to marry in the future. And that's a problem. And I'm going to flip guys in a minute, pull up the other clip with Andrew Tate from that great discussion that she had with Just Pearly, that he had with Just Pearly things last night in a minute. Give me 1 minute.
You know, yeah, he had his thing going on.
In the courting
but
period,
the point
you got
is,
that. It's
the point
easy.
is, I just didn't like him, but he communicated.
So
because
again,
he really
so
liked
again,
me,
again, this
he
goes this
communicated.
again,
It's
again, this
possible.
goes back to like watch what women say, not what they do. Because if I'm hearing to you, if he's rich and he's emotionally available, that sounds like a golden ticket. That sounds like
But
the
he wasn't
unicorn.
my
Okay,
type.
but this
You
is
can't
what
make yourself
this is
like
what. But
someone.
to me, again, so the men would hear this and they would say, "Well, she goes on dates with men that aren't."
All right, guys, hold tight. I want to play clips from this show last night. It was a great discussion, guys. Great discussion. This show was epic, to say the least. Almost had 60,000 people viewing when I popped in. And Andrew Tate talks about modern women and how so many are delusional and so many don't understand how men think.
Ideology. Feminism is an ideology which cannot be defended by feminists. The only people who can defend feminism are the men who subscribe to the garbage. If all the feminists were to get in a line and say, we want feminism, and the conservative men were to get in a line, you would learn very quickly it's bullshit. I had a friend in Afghanistan when Taliban kicked America out. And he told me the Americans were telling the girls they could go to school. So they built all these girls' schools, and they put the Afghanistani Defense Forces there, and they
Well, actually, no equality. I want respect. That's really what I
What's
want.
stopping you from getting respect?
No,
I get respect.
I
What's stopping
get
you from getting
respect. I get respect.
So,
That's
you
what I
just
want.
said
That's
you
what I
want
like.
respect.
What I think is,
You don't even know what you want.
I'll tell you what I
You don't
want.
know what you want. You want
As a
equality,
woman, I
and you want
carry myself
respect.
differently. I actually hold the things that I have done in the fights that I fought. I hold it. That's why when you speak to me, I don't move different. I move different to many of the girls. That's why when you talk to me and you argue with me, I don't take
argue
it.
with
You do
I tell
sometimes.
you.
And
I
I'll
don't
tell you
argue.
something. A lot of women may have the accolades to be somebody, but they are uncomfortable to own that. And the reason why, then I would like to ask you, for example, I do need a man, for example, to, procreate. But other than that, I'm quite strong. And I would find a way to protect myself differently. With that mentality, what would be the man that would be for me then?
Denava, what would you do if one of these security guards broke into your door?
What would I do? Okay, I'll tell you.
What would you do? What would
One,
you do? No, seriously, there's no guns here.
She's a feminist.
I'll tell you. No, I'm not a
She was
feminist.
strict and say,
I'm not a feminist. I'm a bit smarter.
Okay,
Either
okay,
I'd play
these
dead.
two guys.
One. Yeah.
Okay, they see you're not dead.
It's okay.
They
No,
see
I'd
you
be like
breathing.
this, and then if not, maybe I would kind of like be very.
And guys, that's what we're talking about. That's the lack of self-awareness. That is the lack of self-awareness that so many modern women have. The lack of self-awareness and the lack of understanding the value of having a good man, but also the overutilization of a man and reducing his importance and need in a healthy way. That's why I tell you guys, you have to love and start valuing yourself.
Gentle and comply to find a way to get out of it.
so
If they want to come and kill me, there's not much that many people can do.
Let's make an important point. You're talking about equality equaling respect. The way you get respect as a woman is by being feminine. There's nothing, we can be equal and very, very different. I'm not saying that there's not equality, but you've confused equality with the same. You can be equal with completely different things. You can have a bishop and a knight on a chessboard. They're equal in terms of points, but they do different things, right? A woman can have equal respect to a man if she is very good at being a woman, and a man gets respect for being very good at being a man. When a woman decides she wants to act like a man or a man wants to act like a woman, that's where it all gets fucked up. We try and pretend it's all the same. It's not the same. Men and women are good at different things. We have different strengths, different weaknesses. There's nothing wrong with accepting that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm a woman, I'm good at X, he's a man, he's good at Y. Then we work together as a team, we have a beautiful family, we're happy forever. It's only confused where you have women who sit and go, no, because in the name of equality, we can fight in war. There's no fucking women on the front line in Ukraine. That is psyop bullshit. They put some chick there dancing around doing Pokemon dances to try and convince men to go fucking die in a ditch. It's garbage. If you go to the front line of Ukraine right now, you do not see women in their makeup and their manicures. You see fucking men in the freezing cold dying. You know where the women are? Dubai, chilling. That's where the women are. So to sit and pretend that women are just as capable physically as men is a fucking lie. It's delusion. To say that you're as strong as men is delusion. You are good at other things. You're better than men at a lot of things, but it's not the physical world. And the unfortunate reality about life, this is what we're saying when I was saying earlier that feminism goes out the window when things get hard. The harder the world gets, the closer it gets to the baseline of humanity. The unfortunate baseline of humanity is violence. That's what happens. If all the electricity were to go out and all the police were to quit, this would become a violent place very quickly. And
I agree with him 1,000%. Women are superior when it comes down to manipulate certain things in the physical world. But when it comes down to like the provisionary part, there are some things I don't even know how to do as a man. So I need man. I don't mind saying I need mankind and men in general to give me the things that I need in order to be successful. Fixing cars, dealing with the electrical engineers on the grid. We need men for that. But like I said, sadly, because of the lack of self-awareness and also the cognitive dissonance that so many have, they can't hear, won't hear, and they choose not to hear what the men are saying.
Be fucking zero feminists left. Zero. You would all need men. That's the bottom line of reality. That's the bottom line. So you have to understand as a woman and say, okay, I need a man who's good at being a man.
But no one's saying that we don't need men in society. Of course we do. We're talking about relationships. Yeah, you're strong, but the thing is, I can live my life as a woman and not need a man.
What's a woman?
Oh,
Pearl, stop
like
it.
in my day-to-day life, I don't need a man to fix my car. I'll just go to the mechanic.
But listen, right?
Yeah, but she's delusional. You might not need your boyfriend, but you do need a man. You need a man. You need mankind. And that's what they just don't get. They just see men as being disposable. You need mankind to help you get the proper outcomes you need in life. You need mankind. You might not need a man in a romantic relationship, but you do need mankind. And sometimes them toys that you're using, you still need mankind because mankind created those toys. But the lack of self-awareness and seeing men as utilities is appalling.
But is the mechanic a man or a woman?
No, I'm saying yes, we need men in society, but in relationships, the only reason I actually need you is because I want you. I don't actually need you.
Do you know what?
I need you to procreate. Yes, I agree.
And when a woman say, I don't need you, I want you, that's a liberal talking point. I need you. I want you, but I don't need you. But she's delusional. Because human beings were never made to be by themselves. They were optimized to be synchronized. You do need mankind. You might not need them the way you think you need them, but oh dear, you do need them. Because you still need men to do most of the physical labor and the physical jobs that most women can't or won't do. So you need men. You might can get away with the physical relationship, but you do need men. You might not need a man, but you do need men. And that's where you get the double talk, guys. I want you, but I don't need you. That foolishness. I want you, but I don't need you. And you know what God said? Men and women like her probably don't need men because men have simped so bad for a subpar woman. This woman is very average, to say the least. But I'm sure there have been guys that have blown her head up to make her think she's better than what she really is.
My day-to-day life.
What if someone breaks into your house?
I'll just call the police.
Okay, what if they don't come? What if the average
in
the US it takes like 15
and give them everything.
In the US it takes like 15 minutes for them to get there.
But that's not realistic. That doesn't happen on a day-to-day life.
These two guys in your house, what are you doing?
But that's not realistic. I've not had any man break into my house on a day-to-day. It doesn't happen.
The point is,
so let's be realistic now.
I know what you're saying, but the point is this. The point is, when we're talking about feminism as a whole demonizes men. And you just sat and said, besides procreation, I don't need a man in my life. I can go to a male mechanic or call a male police officer. They're men. So in
society, you are needed. I agree. Okay, of course, we need you.
Of course. So you're talking about being with a man because you want to. So my question to you is, why would you want to be with a man?
Why would a man want to be with you?
Because they're sexy.
Like, obviously,
because of the
Can we just talk about men? Sorry, I love men.
No,
I love dick.
We don't sound like it, but it's not all about dick. What I'm trying to say is that in a good relationship, right, one that works, there's blue jobs and there's pink jobs. Right, and that's the problem that women have got.
Oh, gee,
they don't want to be doing no pink jobs.
But that's not what we're talking about.
We're
talking about relationships. Why do you need a man in a relationship? Because you want a partner.
What's companionship, friendship?
And once again, guys, partners. They want partners when it's convenient for them. They want partners when it benefits them. They want partners, but they don't want husbands. Most modern women don't want a husband. They want a partner. They want a man that can lead, and also they can equally lead, but they don't want to be under that man's authority. And that's why I'm keep telling you, man, if you are a traditional man, dealing with modern women and modernism would be antithetical to your worldview, because you're going to be fighting and debating in that relationship for a long time. You're not going to ever have peace because she's going to see you as her equal instead of seeing you as her leader. If you got a woman that see you as her equal instead of seeing you as her leader, she is not fit for the office of marriage. And that's what happens with many modern women.
Romantic love, things that you can't get by yourself.
Like you want to go on dates with him. It's not about I need someone to fix my car. Like go to a mechanic. You're not safe. Call the police.
Not
like it's
true.
not that deep.
Wait. What about a father to your kids? You don't think your kids
Exactly.
need a dad?
I definitely want that. These are the stuff. This is the reason I need a man.
That.
I agree.
Wait. It's not that you want it. You need it.
I agree. And these are the stuff that I need in a man. But it's like at the end of the day, it's not like I completely need you. It's
But,
I want you.
But the whole point is if the lights went out tomorrow, you would need a man.
In society, agree.
Why do we act like women are so useless?
It's not that
I can change a tire.
I'm saying if the
because many don't understand their inherent value. Women have inherent value. And some of the things they bring to the equation of men and women supersedes what men can do. I don't have a problem with saying some women are superior in certain areas in their life compared to what I do. But men are definitely more superior when it comes down to sustaining the physical world. They just don't have the wherewithal to do it. They haven't been trained to do it. A lot of men can't even do it. So even men can say that we need mankind. But sadly, some of these women, they just don't get it, guys.
the lights went out tomorrow,
Hit the like button, guys, and share the stream.
You
yes,
would.
of course. In society, not my boyfriend.
I'll go underground.
Like, half of my exes can't even do anything.
That's actually another problem. A lot of men can't do much.
Do you know what I mean?
Not everybody is strong.
In this day and age, guys can't even fit a tire.
You cannot. You cannot. No. Hang on a minute.
But I can cook. And the thing is, I'm not
even. To your brothers. They don't know how to do
I'm not even saying.
Guys.
Can I just say something?
We have to do one at a time.
Can I just say something? This is why you can't blame all men for your poor choices. You can't say, I'm talking to both of you because you're saying, yeah, my man can't do this, my man can't do that. What? And you want to settle down. Why would you go and choose a man that can't do these things that you wanted them to do? Because my man could do all the blue jobs.
I need a man.
Because most men grow up with a PlayStation instead. Most men grow up with a PlayStation and porn and things. No, that's the truth.
It's not.
Speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself.
That's the man you pick.
I'm sorry. I don't need a mechanic for my boyfriend. You know what? I need a father to my children. I don't need.
You know something, right? She needs a
police
father. Hang on a minute.
officer.
She needs a father for her children, right?
Yeah.
So she's gonna go out there, right? And you're gonna buy your child an electric car. You're gonna go and buy your child a bicycle. Who the hell's gonna put on the bicycle and fix the electric car? Who's going to do it?
You got YouTube. I know how to do these
Bro,
things. I fixed the Bentley before.
Why do you
fixed
need
the
a man?
Bentley.
And you can do everything yourself. Go and get some sperm donor or something because you obviously don't need a man.
That's the future, I think.
And the thing is, the future for who?
No, of
that's
like
the problem.
society.
Because at the end of the day,
what year are you living in?
The year that you living.
And guys, as you can see, there's definitely a great disconnect between modern women, between traditional women, and that's why it's modernism versus traditionalism. One sees the importance and the value of a man, family, and relationship. The other don't. But they don't see it, guys, until it's too late. They don't see it until they sit in the therapist's office talking to me about how to get a man, how to keep a man. No different than the woman named Paca that said she had a man, but she took men for granted. And so some don't come to the great connection or the awareness until it's too late. So many modern women have been benefited, men and women have benefited from the modern convenience of technology, that they tend to minimize the importance of men and they tend to minimize the importance of masculinity, sadly. Hold tight. Hold tight.
Because we are in the stone age. Let me finish talking, right? Now, you got a man, right? And you've been busy all day, right? And you're in your bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. And your man comes in with all of his friends and said, oh, babes, all the friends are here. They're hungry. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'll cook for my man. I'm a a traditional woman in that aspect.
Yeah, in
I
what
love
aspect?
to cook
Why
for my
is
man.
it that when people start cooking, they think that cooking is traditional? It's everything. It's not just about cooking. They always say, I cook for my man, so I'm traditional.
I have a
No,
question.
no, no,
I have a
but the
question.
point is,
Wait. I have a question. Are you virgin? You're traditional, you're virgin.
Are you a virgin?
No, I said in that aspect. I'm not going to comment on me being a virgin or not, but what I'm going to say is every human being should be able to cook.
She's a hybrid of tradition and modernization.
I'm a person that survives. You know, I need to cook to survive.
Can I ask Mr. Tate something, right? Right, I'm going to ask you something.
Sure.
Right, because I can't. I don't like bullshit, right? And there's certain people that I can't
Why
even
is he
bear talking
excited,
to, right?
man?
So I'm going to talk to him because so far he's talking sense.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's
You're
giving
welcome.
pick me.
Right. Who said pick me? Listen, who just said pick me?
They want me. Don't look at me.
I said it's giving pick me.
Give him
because we're having a whole conversation.
Listen,
And you're like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't talk to Mr.
And look how ignorant she is, guys. Look how ignorant she is. She can't even respect her elder. Anytime women want to adhere to traditionalism, they say, damn, pick me. And that's why, guys, I'm telling you, you got to let it burn down. This generation of men and women, but especially these modern entitled women, they have never been through hardship. That's why they don't know and understand the respect of men and the contributions that men have given the world. This woman, Auntie Jenny, is probably a little older than me, but she can understand it because that generation came more out of the struggle. This generation was born in entitlement, narcissism, and also selfishness. But look at her body language and her demeanor. But we wonder why a lot of men are saying enough is enough, and they're not dealing with these modern women, these modern relationships.
Hang on a minute. I've been with my man for 32 years.
Clap for yourself.
32 years. I don't need to clap for myself because I'm happy. I'm not here. And what I was going to ask him, right, is how would you think a woman? Would you think that woman? Would you think that woman? Just calm down. I'm loud. I'm naturally. You don't want to hear me shout. Anyway, Mr. Tate, like I was saying before we got rudely interrupted, right? Now, is this your idea of a woman that you think deserves a man? I'm here, single, but I'm looking. I'm here. I'm like taking, if you want to hook me up, let me know. And I just want anybody, but choose. How does that make you feel? What is that kind of woman that you think deserves a man?
Well, he's a top G. You can't be asking him this question.
But you
about us
top
mere
G,
mortals.
isn't it?
We're mere mortals, Auntie.
Speak for yourself. I'm no mere mortal.
I'm a mere mortal in his presence.
Because nobody
Come on now.
me.
Which kind of question be that?
Auntie, unlike you, we have options.
I'm a mere mortal
Unlike
next to this man.
we have options.
Even this 8.5.
If you have options, then where's your ring?
That is the most stupid thing.
Because I actually can choose. I've not found a man that I want to be with.
Okay,
that's I know your reality. I know your reality is you gotta beg a man to keep you.
Hang on a minute. You said, unlike you, I have options.
We have options, yeah.
You're out here looking for a man. You're out here saying that you're looking for a man.
When did I say I was looking for a man?
Oh my gosh, you was at the advertising when we done the introductions. That's what you said.
I said I was doing
That is what you said.
I didn't say I was going out looking for a man. I said I'm doing it.
Hang on a minute.
You come to me, I'm gonna decide if I want you.
Mr. Tate, listen to this insult, right? Listen to the outro.
I'm not insulting you.
Hang on, listen. All right, then what do you call it? Sign language. What I'm learning. Sign language. Right? Listen to what she just said to me. Unlike you, I have options. Fucking 32 years. You think I want options? I'm happy with my man.
It's giving you don't really have much options, though. Because the way you're like,
it's not pick me. Auntie, she meant clout. Wait. She meant Esther, I'm sure you didn't mean pick me, you meant clout chaser. Is that what it is?
It doesn't matter.
We could go with that too.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to clarify your problem. I was just saying.
Okay, wait. I've totally lost it. Why would I want to have options when I've been in a happy relationship for 32 years?
No, clout chases his fans.
It don't make no sense.
You
can monetize on YouTube with clout.
Why are you calling her a pick me when you were the one advertising at the beginning of the show?
I said I'm doing interviews. I wasn't advertising nothing.
It's banter.
Wait. Do you guys understand what an interview means?
Okay. All right.
She's being spicy, guys. Stop it.
Auntie had a question for Andrew.
Oh yeah.
What was your question?
Oh, she asked already.
He didn't answer because everybody's too busy jumping. Everybody's too busy jumping in. I already asked, but you're not too busy jumping in and being women.
He's patient.
To be listening. So
he's
now
ready to get married.
You can all shut up and let him answer, innit?
I'll answer. Yeah. So to go back to one of my earlier points. Firstly, to make it clear in the disagreement, I agree with. Of course, I think everyone knows who I agree with. But I do, because you know what it is, though. You know what's actually funny? The things that she's saying are common knowledge 20, 30 years ago. This is how the world functioned. This is how the whole world functioned. The things I say that somehow people believe are controversial are exactly the way the world functioned in like the 90s, the 80s,
Right,
the 70s.
he's right.
All of the entire...
He's right. There's definitely a paradigm shift because Andrew Tate is right. That was just common knowledge, guys, back in the day. It was everything he's asking for and everything men are asking for. It was just the norm. That's why when people get triggered or people get in their feelings, I don't understand it because my generation, that was just the norm. I don't really recognize this generation now. The things that men tolerate, the things that men allow. I could never, if I was a single man, deal with the typical modern woman in this relationship. There is no benefit. There is no medicinal value or benefit, in my opinion, for a man to deal with because if you're traditional, it's going to be an uphill battle.
A period of human history, men had a role of masculinity, women had a role of femininity. We worked as a team. Now the world's come along and they've destroyed and broken everything. And there's this new progressive think and this new generation of women who seem to believe that if we completely fuck it all up, it's going to end up better. And my argument to that is, listen, we went from walking around in fields in small nomadic groups to building cities, to building the pyramids, to going to the moon. We managed to go from a few thousand to billions of people, populate the entire planet, build canals, build skyscrapers, cities. All of this was done based on the back of man being a man, woman being a woman, working together as a family.
And now it's destroyed.
Now they're going to come along and fuck it up.
If it's not broke, don't
It's
fix it.
destroyed. It's been destroyed. Man has destroyed Earth. What are you talking about? It's been bad decisions from powerful men that got men to go to wars and from women to lose husbands.
Men
make decisions for war.
Listen.
What this woman don't understand, war sometimes is a necessary evil. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it says there's a time for all things. There's a time for love. There's a time for hate. There's a time for peace. And there is a time for war. But those wars that were started either by men or other men still benefited the protection of women. It's just a natural cause of life. It's like death is a natural cause of life. War is a natural cause of life because we're human and we live in a very wicked world. Shout out to my man MC Recovery and Wellness for that $10 super sticker. He said a great divide of a community record of nuclear families, small businesses, trade schools, and jobs need a comeback. Feminists and baby mamas don't like family reunions. Kevin Samuels was right. Men bill, yes. And it was just common knowledge.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
It was just common knowledge.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
But what this woman is doing, guys, is a defensive talking point where she's trying to find holes in this argument to justify wars. But once again, like someone else said, right, male logic, women benefited for the wars of men. Women benefited from it. And all men didn't always create war, but war is a natural part of life.
Please,
Men kill men.
Please listen to me. Men built the earth. I'm not saying men are perfect, but the entire world that you're existing under was built by men.
Yeah, it's
all
true.
of it. So, and the point I'm making is now we're entering a world of new think. And the problem with new think is it's not tested. I don't give a shit what anyone's opinion is. What I can state as a matter of fact is we had 5,000 years of history that tells us how the world works with X and Y together. We're now entering a new paradigm. There's no 5,000 years of history. So whatever you believe about how it's going to work or it's going to be better or worse, whatever, that's just you guessing. Everyone is guessing, right? So we're entering a brand new paradigm and everything's completely fucked up. The point you were making earlier, which is a fantastic one about if I pick a woman who's advertising, et cetera, men always, please keep this in mind, especially if you're a female. People always say, you know, the number of emails I get from girls who say you don't give enough girl game. I'll give you girl game right now. Your man wants status. That's what he wants. You need to find a way to make him look good to the world and to his friends.
So how do you do that?
I'll tell you. One of the ways a man can get status is to get the girl that no one can get. That's a very simple way, right? So
I said not ready to mingle. I did right.
Okay, no, but this is the truth, right? If I date a girl and she's perfect in every way, head to toe, and then I'd say, I've met this girl. Yeah, she's this. Oh yeah, I took her for a date. Even if you didn't fuck her, did you fuck her? No, I just went for a date. So you went. The attraction goes from this to 0. Done. And it may not for some men, because some men haven't got choices. But men like me who genuinely have unlimited options, we want complete exclusivity. That's what we're looking for because that gives status. That's what you're looking for. So you have to be very careful as a female with all of your actions, all of your interactions with your boyfriend or when you're looking for a boyfriend, et cetera, and say, am I going to make my man look better by doing X or look worse? Simple things. I've had endless arguments about girls' nights out, right? Oh, you're insecure. Da, da, da. It's not about insecure. I don't give a fuck if no man talks to you all night long. I don't care if you're going out and you're going to an all-girl club. I don't care. I know that when my boys say, oh, all the girls are going out, and I say, not my girl.
Right.
She stays home.
Right.
I look good. That's it. She stays home. She doesn't go out. She doesn't want to go out without me. That's status. It's not about the night out. It's about the status of being the man in the house. That's what a man wants.
Right.
He wants respect.
Right. And many times, girl nights out, guys, we know what happens on girl night out. Even if the woman's not doing anything, she's getting the attention of other men. And men don't want to have to compete for their woman. Men feel like if that woman is with him or riding for him, then she won't want to go out to no girls night out in environments where men going to be hitting on them. I would never allow that as well. And I'm going to tell you, men, you need to have healthy control in your relationship. You need to have healthy control in your relationship. Andrew Tate is spitting some gems, guys. He's spitting some gems. Let's finish listening to it, guys, and we're going to continue to break this thing down because traditionalism versus modern marriages. Traditionalism versus modernism is a topic of discussion. Andrew Tate, Just Pearly Things, Modern Women, and Brittany Renner.
He wants to be the man of the house. I say she stays home. She stays home. Big G, boom, boom. That's what we want.
Can I ask you something? What does the woman want in your eyes? What do you think? And what's the game you give for the boys?
I'm going to tell you, but before that, I need another Clementine, and I need to give half to our friend here because she just rolled her eyes at me. And I'm perspicacious. I notice everything. She doesn't realize that I'm a ninja. I detect these things. Even when I'm looking directly ahead, I can detect it. So I'm going to give her some of my Clementine, and she's going to feel better. So I'm going to get a Clementine for you. Would you like some Clementine, my dear?
I'm sure.
You want some Clementine?
I think for me, it's like...
I asked you a question. Would you like some
I would
Clementine?
love some,
You want some Clementine?
Yeah.
We're going to hook it up.
Okay.
Clementine's coming. All right. Go on. Continue.
Okay. What? No, I mean, I just feel like this is definitely a different conversation for me because I'm very open-minded. I love hearing different perspective, and I do feel like this is a newer idea. Like you said, within the last 30, 40 years, this is a new concept. We don't know how it's going to end. I just know from like my experience.
Oh, we know how it's going to end. It's going to end in chaos because it subjects or subverts order and design. It's going to end in chaos, and sadly, a lot of men are going to allow it to happen. So another question that was asked by Andrew Tate: are we in a post-marriage society? Let's listen to this, guys. Hold tight.
Wow.
Hey.
Getting married, there are absolutely not really none. Because this new idea of new age feminism just basically destroys all men in the idea, in the event of her leaving. And it's very common that women leave, right?
So guys, before we evolve in this conversation, what you guys argue, are there any benefits for men getting married in modern times? Many of you guys will say no. If you do say no, tell me why in the comment section. Are there any benefits for men getting married in modern times? And many of you men have said no in the past, and I'm sure you guys are saying it now, that there are no benefits for modern men to get married. But I would love for you guys to expound on it and also to elaborate on it if there are any benefits for men getting married. Keep listening.
Let's stop the man versus woman attack, et cetera, et cetera. Life's difficult for everybody. We all have different challenges, different things to go through. But if a woman marries a man and it goes wrong, she has emotional heartbreak. Fine. But if a man marries a woman and it goes wrong, he has emotional heartbreak. Plus, everything he has ever worked for is ripped out from underneath him, and he has to give that chick money forever.
In some places, you don't even have to be married.
Exactly.
That's why the men don't want to live with the women either.
That's right. So when you make these rules and these laws, right, under the guise of feminism and equality, all this garbage, all you're doing is scaring men away from commitment. And then you have to add in the other hidden element, and the other hidden element is what I said earlier, is whose fault a lot of this is promiscuous women, right? So when society's broken down, if women were saying, if all women got together and said, we'll only have sex after marriage, guess what men would do?
Right.
Get married.
They would get
but
married.
You don't,
Right.
So now you're in Miami. I go to Miami. I can fuck anything in the club. I don't have to marry any of them. If I marry them, I get wrecked. So, like, let's all use our brains here. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to be like, well, no. Bounce. See ya. No. So men have been scared away from the idea of marriage, and that's a lot of that is the fault of this new bullshit law and this new feminism and this new crap. They don't give men any tactical advantage. And I'm talking about small things. A man's not even allowed to be a man in his own house. You know, in England, you will get accused of emotional abuse. I can marry a woman, not lay a hand on her. I can just raise my voice at her. That's emotional abuse. I can raise my voice at her because she's going out drinking with dudes. She can go out drinking 6 nights a week with men. And I can say, what the fuck, you're my wife, sit down. She can call the cops, call me emotionally abusive. I get arrested now. Now there's a court case against me. I have to go to court and defend myself. She'll divorce me, take my house. I have to sell my car because she's drinking vodka with fucking God knows who.
But you notice that
It's
earlier on.
insanity.
What do you think of child support?
And that's another interesting thing because a lot of these arguments, it goes beyond man and woman and it goes into the larger sphere as a whole, right? Because we talked earlier about war and how a lot of men used to die and that doesn't happen anymore. So what you used to have in societies, and I'm not saying I have all the answers, I'm just commenting, right? What you used to have in societies is a bunch of men would die at war because men have more dangerous lives than women. There'd be a bunch more women than men. The top Gs would impregnate a bunch of women, and the top Gs could take care of the women, and that'd be et cetera, et cetera. That's now changed, right? So a lot of the reason that monogamy is pushed is because it's good for society, and it is good for society. It's good for society as a whole to have a man, a woman, a family. They're together. The man provides for the woman, et cetera. The government doesn't want to pay for all these kids. If you don't have child support, who's paying for these kids? The government does it. It breaks down, right? So that's why child support is enforced in many parts of the world. In certain other parts of the world, child support isn't enforced because they have religious beliefs or genuine family beliefs that keep the families together. But in the Western world, now you need child support because you've broken things down to the point where men don't want to be married to chicks. Chicks don't want to listen to the man. The man can't even be the man in his own household. He can't even feel respected where he goes. His woman gives him no status. And now he doesn't want to fucking deal with her anymore. So how do you get that kid paid for? Well, then tell the man or you go to jail. And you just come along with the fucking long arm of the law and you fuck him. And so, yeah, it's difficult. It's hard to answer. Yeah, but it's hard to answer. The true answer to all of it is an idealistic answer. I don't like to think idealistically and talk idealistically, but it's the truth. The true answer to it is to instill in the man a sense of duty in which he wants to take care of his woman regardless, because that's his child. But you will do that. I'll tell you how you do that. You do that by inspiring out of the man by being a very good woman. So I'll give you an example. If I had a child with a woman, and she was always a great woman to me. She never cheated on me. She was a good woman to me. And I was running around being whatever. And she's like, look, I just can't put up with you anymore. You're top G. You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm going to look after your kid. You can see him anytime you want. I care about you. Please don't leave me in poverty. I'd say, cool. 100%. I'm not a fucking dickhead.
Can I
cool,
say, but that's a real man though, because I was in a situation but I was just in a situation like that to where it's like hearts don't break even, and that's the reality too. It's like if those morals and principles are not instilled in a man, none of that shit matters. So obviously the child support stuff obviously hits close home to me because I'm already $50,000. It's just in lawyer fees trying to get him to provide. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it sucks because it's like you play in the NBA, like why don't you want to do more? And it's just because, again, of the relationship. It's personal. It's not about our son.
Personal. That's right.
So it's like, if you're not.
I just feel like it's like.
Yeah, but what Brittany is saying or is not telling you, did she take PJ's child? Did she not give him consent? Does PJ have equal access and equal rights to his child? No man want to pay, or some men are not going to pay full price with a woman dictating everything. That baby is 50% PJ Washington's DNA, and it's 50% Brittany Renner's DNA. So she should not have all the power and all the say in that relationship. It should be fairly balanced, equal between both parties. So maybe his retaliation to her, as she's retaliating by trying to leverage power, is that I'm not going to pay anything. And some might say it's immature, but I can understand why he's doing it, because he feels powerless. And I told you guys that power, according to Dr. Glasser, is how men get their needs met. Human beings get their needs met. They need to feel like they have power. Power, fun, freedom, belonging, and survival. That was part of reality therapy or choice theory.
Why do you get money for making a poor choice?
Well, it wasn't a poor choice because it took two.
I'm not trying to like disrespect you in any way. It's just like if you left. And
no.
so it's like, why do you get money for it? It just doesn't make sense.
because we made a commitment. So we made at the end of the day, we made a commitment. We have a forever commitment. Fuck marriage. We are forever family. So,
but if you're not giving that man equal access to that child, if you decide to leave the relationship, and that man can't have equal say in that relationship, then that man, in my opinion, should have to pay anything until he can get equal say, equal power in that said relationship. But sadly, a lot of women, they don't want to do that. They only want to do it when it's convenient for them. And men that got power, money, and status say, nah, boo, we're going to do what's best for us. You're not going to dictate the demands of this relationship. But it sounds like Brittany won't to dictate how and when PJ sees his son. I'm speculating, but at the same time, he can't have equal say so. Or she decided to leave the relationship, but then she's asking for help. Make it make sense. If you can't take care of your child, give that child to his father. Let the dad take care of it.
Again, as someone who is literally going through this, if I made more money than him, I would be paying him child support, and that would be fair to me.
But this is what's really interesting. What's truly interesting is if you go to other countries, and I'm talking about civilized countries, right? If you go to Poland or Czech Republic or whatever, these countries, which are in many metrics more civilized than the West, they're safer to live in, they're cleaner, etc. There's no child support laws. So if you have a divorce, the man just takes care of the woman because that's his kid and that's just what he's supposed to do, and that's just it. So what you're saying is, you're right about the man having the morality instilled inside of them. And my point is that the reason a lot of this doesn't exist, the reason men don't have morality installed in them, is not just about the individual case of the man. It's about society as a whole. It's about women as a whole, men as a whole, the dating game as a whole, the life he's living as a whole. And this is the world we live in. This is why I was talking about how dangerous new think is, because now we have this new think, this new world, and we're living in this new world. And the truth is, as a man, now the game has changed. In the game of chess, sometimes it's not about winning. It's about making sure you don't lose. If you can not lose, if you can not blunder any pieces and protect your king long enough, you'll win the game. And there's a lot of men who are now like, okay, how do I not lose? Well, you know what? I become fucking ruthless. That's how I don't lose. I get all my sex because the women are promiscuous. I get laid as much as I want. I don't let anyone fucking tie me into anything dumb. Any bitch wants to get fresh to me or fucking talk to another dude, I cut her off financially. And you just get ruthless so you don't lose the game. But that's because the game's been rigged against men. So the harder you rig the game against us, the more ruthless we're going to have to be to compete. And that's it's unfortunate. I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm just saying why men do what they do.
Can I just say with regards to Brittany, I just think that with regards to child support, you've got a kid, you look after it.
Hey, and I do.
Not you, the men.
I was like, I do look after my son.
No, not you.
Okay, I was like,
no, that's what I said. No, that's what I said with regards to the child support. That's what I first said. I think that you have a kid that you should look after it. I don't agree with men giving the women money, but I think it's disgusting that a man can have a child and not support it.
So do I. But this is another thing. So this is the comments we have to make, right? Because we don't have all the answers. We have to make the comments on it. This goes into the deeper point. Every time a court rules in favor of a chick having $100,000 a month, that puts men off to a level. Like, it's fine if there was a baseline child support, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. That's if you have a kid, baseline, regardless of income. If your man wants to give you more, he does. If he doesn't, whatever. But when you come along and start saying this % of a man's income, do you have any idea how scary that is to a man who works for his money? He works for his money. And do you know why it's scary? It's not just because he's giving his money away. It's because he knows he isn't giving money to the kid.
Yeah.
The kid, you can raise a kid on $500 a month in most of the world. You want that kid in Gucci, you in a nice car, going on dates with another dude with my money. I'd rather burn the fucking house down than to give it to you under those fine circumstances.
Make vouchers for child support.
I just think it incentivizes poor decisions. Like I haven't gotten pregnant by someone, but but I'm saying, but like you're gonna pay someone who's done that. Like why did they get?
Okay, but I'm literally telling you that if I made more money than him, I would have no problem paying for my child. And child support laws vary in different states. So in North Carolina, for instance, if you make over combined of $300,000 a year, then you are considered off the grid. So then you have to prove this is how much your rent is. Any bill that my son occupies, I get a percentage of. So on the low end, it would be 50%. If there's a big enough salary gap, it could be up to 97%. In the court, the judge gets to decide what makes the most sense. So if my child's father makes $20 million a year from basketball, he gets to decide if $6,000 is a lot, if $8,000 or $10,000, whatever. But you have to prove that. So it's not like you just it's enough money for a Chanel bag. Like my son watches Peppa Pig, that's a cable bill. You know what I mean? So it's a percentage of everything. So you're not like just living it up. You're just living. So you're able to. There's a roof over your son's head.
My whole point is that like it's all down to choices. And
the man made a choice too because I can't get pregnant unless he nuts in me.
I understand that, but I'm
then there's nothing to argue. You understand that.
You're the one that's you're in control of who gets born. Abortion's legal.
Okay,
as soon as he nuts, it's completely out of his control.
Listen,
can I just say something though?
Wait,
just playing devil's advocate that I had my child and me and the dad went together, and I didn't take a penny from him, and the government wanted me to, but I decided that no, that he was better off that my child, I look after him myself. Anything he wants to give his son if he wanted to is extra, but I worked hard and I done it all on my own because it was this less because it's this headache. And
I know a lot of women that went that route.
My child.
And that's the difference, guys, between old school women versus new school entitlement. Old school women versus new school entitlement. Based on what some of the brothers are saying, some of the guys are saying that she intentionally got impregnated by P.J. Washington. But once again, the lack of self-reflection is in modern women. The lack of self-awareness is in modern women. The lack of internalization is in modern women. And one of the bigger issues that a lot of modern women have, and some of you men have it too because you don't set any standards, a lot of modern women, guys, have a condition called cognitive dissonance. And that cognitive dissonance, guys, stop them from seeing the error of their way. Can't see, can't hear, and won't hear. It would take an act of Congress to get them to see and hear and to understanding what rational women are saying, but also rational men. Because just like they called the woman Auntie Jen, they called her a pick-me. Because they like self-awareness, they also like common sense. Guys, get the likes up. We're about to finish playing this.
Fair though that you have to think that he's not going to be a man and take care of his child. Don't you think that's unfair on you?
No, because he's my child and he's happy. Now I'm going to give him what he wants.
Child as well. He made that child.
That's why I don't need a man
but the whole
attitude,
point
you know?
is you choose who you sleep with.
Listen, right, as
Like,
far as
you
But he
pick.
chooses as well. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
this is two to tango. What are we talking about?
I'm saying right now it's not fair because women have abortion that's legal. It's not legal for them.
Oh,
they
I'll tell you
get
what's
no
not
say.
fair.
They get no say, and the same thing with birth
I mean, I
control.
could have done, but it wasn't worth my time.
You can get
Well, I'm not going to go
an
and
you
fight
can
a
get
man.
an IUD.
Yeah,
It's like 99.9%.
But what if the man wanted the child though?
That's exactly my point. So I was on birth. Let's just use me as an example.
My point, I think he should. I think he should take care of it, but I just don't agree with having legal incentives for women to leave. That's my point. He should give you money for the kid. If you have a kid, you should, but I just don't agree with
See, but the thing is, if men stood up and became fathers to their children, women wouldn't have
if
to.
women
choose differently.
We're in control of who we see.
And once again, guys, the lack of self-awareness and the lack of accountability. If you valued yourself, if you valued your body, then you will not allow any other man to come inside your body and then use your body as a repository. But because of the sexual revolution that told women they could have fun, free love, and that's your right to do it, but that right comes with a lot of consequences. Also choosing unsavory and unworthy men, a small portion of the population causing all the chaos. The average guy is not causing this kind of chaos. But like, he said, the guys that got the swag, the guys that got status, the guys that make them tingle, that's who they're giving their bodies to. And then they want to suck a simp to come on the end and damn be the cleanup man. And some of you guys are signing up for it because your self-esteem is so low. You don't have any standards, don't have any values for yourself. That's why traveling abroad is the great equalizer for so many men.
Sleep with. So at the end of the day,
that's not the point, because he wanted the child.
But you pick who you sleep with. So if you pick a guy.
I've been getting paid $1,000 a month, if not more, just from this app on my phone.
That's getting girls pregnant left and right.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that he's not going to be there. She doesn't know that.
If she married him, she'd be all right.
She trusted this man to be a father to a child, and now she's left with a child, and no one's going to support her.
Marry him.
Don't you think that's unfair?
Should have married him first.
I mean, you can get married.
Of course.
You get married.
That's what I'm saying. It's
You
just
think
like
marriage is what solves problems? Are you guys actually
No,
sitting
what I'm
here?
trying to say, marriage will solve her financial
You've already
problems.
spoken, Auntie. Please don't cut me off. This is the problem, yeah? Stop acting like every woman that leaves a marriage and gets divorced is because she's this and she's that. There's a lot of women that suffer and they actually need the support and the legal incentive so that they know when they leave, somebody can back them up because they'll be on their own. Stop acting like men.
Yeah, but this woman is talking about the exception to the rule, not the rule. If you choose to leave that relationship minus infidelity or minus abuse, no fault divorce gave women the power and the right to say, I don't love you anymore. I'm not happy. And they just divorced. They divorced the man for whatever reason. But where's the protection for the man? Where's the protection? But on one end, you want to damn divorce him and take half of what he got. But then if that man did no wrong, then where's his protection? Because see, we don't care about equilateral protection of men and women. We only care about how it benefits the woman. And that's why guys are saying that they're checking out. Let them impregnate themselves, but it won't be with your help.
the angels, because there's a lot of men that are dealing with a lot of the traumas that they have from a man's world being difficult. The same way that Andrew Tate explained, a man's world is highly competitive. Men are out there suffering. It is hard to be a man, and a lot of the time, the person who takes the brunt of it is the woman. So yes, she's well within her right to leave, take her child, and be in a better place. And the government should step in to make sure that that man that made her.
And look at what this fool said, guys. Listen to what she just said. I want you guys to listen to this. Listen to what she just said. They don't see your inherent value as a man. They don't even see your inherent value. She said, this is what she said, and I paraphrase, take your child. That's not your damn child. That's our child. Half of that DNA is that man's child. Half of that DNA is that woman's child. That woman cannot do anything without the seed of man. They both need one another. He needs that body for impregnation. She needs his seed to progenate inside her body. She needs his seed to fertilize the egg. He needs her body to carry that baby. But that man is the bank. That woman is the bank, the man is the money. But she said, her child. It's not your child, it's our child. But they don't see that man having rights outside of that child. That's why men a lot of times say they're not paying no child support. If I can't see my child on my own damn terms, I wouldn't pay child support. You're not going to dictate to me how I can see my seed. That's my child just as well as your child. And that's why men are so frustrated, because the courts is not fair and balanced. And it's more or less does not always help men in a very positive way. It has to be balanced equally for men and women. And guys, that's the problem. Hold tight.
Make that decision, steps in for that kid.
Can I say something?
The time that she takes to take care of the child is the time that she doesn't have to go to work. So she's already down on income, and she's having to be taking care of the child on her own. That don't make sense. Not every man is a bloody angel, and not every woman is a devil.
Hang on. Wait, hang on a minute.
I'm gonna leave. Go ahead.
Hang on a minute.
How do you do that,
When
bro?
did I say a man was an angel?
How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that?
I'm talking. I'm talking.
No,
I waited. I waited.
Yes, you
I
did.
waited. Right? So now it's my time to talk.
Talk to me.
What I was saying to her is that if she had got married first, then she would have been all right. She would have to be fighting through the court. So the same law that you're saying would have supported her and her child.
And
that is the difference between getting married first.
No, the
and that's
only
what I'm saying.
difference-
And that's what when people
Getting
were saying
married
about.
just gives you more money.
Hang on a
It's
minute.
not a divorce
Listen.
and kids.
You just
It's not a good decision, yeah?
Excuse me, but I shut up when you were talking.
Go on, apologies, my auntie.
Right.
I didn't mean to disrespect you.
So what I was trying to say is that there is an incentive when women get married first and have children. Because I'm not saying that you, I'm just saying women in general. If a woman gets married first before she has a child and then it leaves, then it's totally different. Like he said before, she's set up for life. If she leaves, she's set up for life. So if somebody
She's set up
else,
for life without marriage, though, that's the point.
No, and that is
you say what you want to hear.
No, and as a person, again, let's ask somebody who's actually going through it, because none of you fucking know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to child support, lawyers, none of that shit. None of you fucking know, okay? So you don't. The reality is, if I would have gotten married and did everything right and did everything the moral way, right? Guess what? All I would have a dish on top of what I'm going through with child support is alimony. So I'm still in the courts fighting, whether I'm married or whether I'm not. So that I get what you're saying, because hey, you at least get the commitment to, maybe back up that he's going to be there, but it doesn't.
But she's wrong. It depends on what state she's living in. If you're in the state of California and more liberal states, then of course, not only do you get alimony, but you also get child support as well. So she's trying to more or less make her situation the token or the pin-up for all people. Most women get alimony and child support. But a lot of times, a lot of these women that are asking for spousal support and also child support, they don't deserve it if they enter that relationship for terms outside of infidelity or abuse. Women that are in relationship just for the sake of ending relationships because they're not happy, they don't deserve a damn thing in my opinion. And I stand on that.
Ensure anything. Everybody wants a fucking guaranteed thing. There's no guaranteed in life.
We're talking different places. When you're in America and you're married and you divorce, you still got to fight for your money. And would you still
Yes,
not
you
in
have
England.
to get a lawyer.
Right, not in England. In England, you get a lawyer and it's sorted. That's the difference. You would have to be going there saying, "Oh, I need this for my child, and I need this." Once you get divorced and you go to court, it's that much.
Alimony and child support are different.
I'm saying she just spent £50,000. She's still fighting. You would have to pay that here. You would not have to pay that here. You would not have to pay that here. You would not have to pay that here. Do your research. You would not have to pay that here. When you get divorced, she wouldn't be going for all the battle that she's going. It'd be simpler in England to get divorced than in America.
She'll still
That's
take
what
your
I'm
money,
saying.
boys.
In England,
They'll take your money. Don't get married. Have a parental partnership. Love your woman. Pay whatever you need to pay for your kids.
I just want to make a point. You know what you were saying? Get married. Even Tate said it himself. Men don't want to get married anymore.
Why are you not turning what he's saying? Why are you not twisting what he's saying? You're not even listening to what he's saying.
And why should they get married? What is the benefit for a man to get married in modern times? He's not getting a virgin. He's not getting a woman his wife ready. Half the time, they're not even getting women with low bodies. And many of them got kids by other men. So what is a man getting from a woman in modern times? Nothing. Headaches, disrespect, high bodies, and undermining his authority as a man. And also the disease of liberal indoctrination. This is not only spreading in America, but across this globe. So what is he getting? Nothing but a headache and an early death. Because no-fault divorce told women they could just get a divorce, and that was it. So what is the man getting? Nothing.
Anymore, but it's more at loss for a man to get married.
You're taking what he's saying and you're twisting it to suit yourself.
What did you say?
I'm not. He literally said, Tate, didn't you say that men are scared of getting married now?
What, yeah, okay, but why?
Because, like you said, with child support, they feel like there's no advantage.
And
so
alimony,
you say just
alimony.
get married. It's not that simple because men don't want to marry you.
Okay, so let's analyze that point. And first thing, back to the child support thing. What's actually interesting to talk about is there's a lot of countries in the world where there is no child support system and it functions, right? So you have to, if you want to pay attention to actually, learn about society as a whole, it's very interesting to study all the different societies and economies in which there is no child support and children don't die. I mean, people get divorced and they still find a way to function. And it's interesting, and it's a very long conversation because it extrapolates about how the whole society works as a whole. That's the first point. Second thing, I'll actually sit here and argue the point that I don't think any man really ever wants to get married. I think that women convince them to get married. And I think that any woman who is genuinely serious about convincing her man to get married could do it. I don't think, in the modern world at least, men wake up and go, can't wait to get married. But what they do is they get a chick who's so good and ticks so many boxes and makes them so happy, and she'll sit there and say, you know what? It would mean the world to me. Please. And he'll go, oh, for fuck's sake. All right, then. And that's what happens. So I still think you can convince 99.9% of men to marry you. The point I was making is the society isn't convincing the man to marry you. It's not like it used to be where the man believed he had to be married. Society's done the opposite. So it's your job as a woman to make it clear to him that it is worthwhile. Once again, how would you convince a man it's worthwhile for him to say, that's my wife? Status. That's how you do it. This is a misunderstood hack to men as a whole, is status. If you can convince that man, but by marrying you, his status will increase amongst his peers, he's going to do it. And for anyone out here who disagrees with me, the things men do for status, let's actually analyze how baseline men are. What is status? Status is respect, right? Men kill over respect. Gangs kill each other over respect. Man will smash another man's face in for insulting him. We will die for respect and status. You tell me we won't get married? We'll die for we'll go to the front line of a war, and the only reason we don't walk away and abandon our post as artillery shells rain is because we're afraid of being mocked for being a coward. We'll die for status. So status is what it's all about. It's what it's always been about. If you want a man to marry you, status. And it's the same thing with nearly anything you want to do with a man. I don't know anything about your personal life. I'll be honest, I don't know, right? But I'll tell you this now. If this dude, this NBA player, believed that he would be higher respected amongst his peers and amongst society for taking care of you properly, that's what he'd fucking do. He doesn't feel that because either he's rolling with the wrong people or you've pissed him off in a way or something public's happened. I don't have a clue. But something's happened where he feels like if I take care of her, I'll look like a bitch. That's what he's scared of. If it was inversed, he had no problem giving you money. Because that's how men function. I'm telling you right now, as a man, I'm telling you what I would do. If I had a chick with a woman, right? And she went on the news, top G's this and fucking, like I said, I have no idea what you've done, but I'm just giving my personal made up scenario.
Oh, yeah.
She would go on the news, top G's this, and he fucking lied to me, he's a piece of shit, da da da. And then I bought her a Bentley. Well, was like, well, look, she insults top G, she insults him, and he's a simp, da da da. But if she was like, you know what, he's misunderstood, he's a good guy, it just didn't work out, blah, 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 I'd bet she'd be in a mansion. Right? And would that be me being a nice guy caring about her? Or let's be honest, would it be me being a selfish piece of shit dude and saying, what makes me look better? Men are all about status. It's how we function. It's how we function as a whole. So society, this is where it extrapolates and gets interesting. When society with this new think has destroyed all of the baseline humanities and baseline understandings of how men interact with women. And now, all the things we previously understood about what made a good man, what made a good woman, and how we should act together and how we should interact has been erased. Of course men are acting like dickheads, and of course women are doing wrong things, because nothing makes sense anymore. You've taken the chessboard and moved all the fucking pieces around. Nobody gets it. It should be very simple. I'm a man, I work hard, I take care of my woman. I'm the man of the house. She treats me with respect. She would never insult me or raise her voice to me in front of other people. She's a problem. She brings it to me in private. We act as a team. We work together. If we break up, she was a good woman to me. She fulfilled her roles the best she possibly could. I'm still a man. I'm going to take care of her. But all of that is gone. All of it's gone. All of it. And it's gone because of all the ideas we were discussing earlier.
And that's taxation, guys, without representation. The benefits of traditionalism while remaining modern. That's why it's such a chasm between traditionalism and modern relationships.
The feminism, the new age bullshit, the fucking dudes left and right and center. All these things, all these baseline things have eroded society to the point where now you have men ignoring their paternal instinct. You have men who will sit there and go, that's my child, but I fuck her. That's actually a massive observation to make about how fucked up society is, and it shouldn't be that way because men in a lot of the world are not like that. And so you have to look at all these small things. The small things we talk about, it's no big deal. She goes on boats in Miami, it's no big deal. It is a big deal because now that dude ain't gonna want to fucking pay child support because you were on those fucking boats with the other team.
And the thing
is that
do you think that men?
That was well said, Sagittarius.
Thank you very much.
Do you think that men marry for like high status families? Like I'm thinking of like Ivanka Trump. Like would someone marry a girl for like status in that way? I think the values of the West are spreading.
What value?
I think the values of the West are spreading.
What values?
So
name a value of the West.
Sorry.
Name a value.
Sorry, I'm
There's no redeeming value of the West. There's only chaos, confusion, and dysfunction. That's the value that's spreading. A value of dysfunction.
I might have misspoke. I mean, like the ideas of the West. Like I've just gotten I get messages from people like from all over, and like in places like India, I've heard feminism is spreading there. Like I've heard that. Do you not find that to be true?
So firstly, the West has no value. The only thing the West seems to defend fervently is LGBT. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm not. I'm just saying it's the only thing that they'll stand up and fight for. I don't know why. It's weird. Like this, they don't care about anything else. They don't care about children going without child support. They don't care about people dying in wars. They don't care about our parents being in parent homes. They don't care about crime. They don't care about no one being able to pay their energy bills. They don't care about nothing. But they give a shit for some reason about this one thing, and they'll fucking throw the flag all around the world.
Which is again surrounded around sex.
That's all they care about. It's fucking strange. So that's the first thing about the values of the West. Second thing, the harder society and the harder the life is as a whole, the longer it's going to take for feminism to spread. Feminism only exists in a vacuum of an easy life. If you're living in a society like India where life is hard, feminism disappears because the harder life is, the closer people naturally revert to their gender roles. If you got a bunch of 10 men, 10 women, stranded them on a desert island, and they had to survive, very quickly the men would do men shit and the women would do women shit. There'd be very little talk about feminism and equality, and all this shit would fucking vanish when shit hits the fan.
Survival.
So in countries where life is harder, feminism can't take hold because feminism can only exist in a vacuum of a very privileged life. I'm sure there's some kid in India who didn't get laid off some chick and he's complaining she's a feminist. There's a bunch of dumb shit, right? But I think the world is going to get a lot harder. I think the world is cyclical. I think it's been easy for a while. I think hard times are coming. And when hard times come, people are going to naturally revert to what gives them the highest chance of survival, which is gender roles, right?
Right.
I have the best chance of survival being a man, and a woman has the best chance of survival being my woman.
And that's why, guys, when you travel to other countries, like in Africa, And when you go to other countries, they respect and honor men because they honor and respect tradition. But but in other countries, when they don't respect and value honor and tradition, then you have and continue to have the same outcomes that you are having now. He is correct. It will be cyclical, and I do agree that things will get worse before it get better because a gala burned down. That's when people say, "Oh, let's go save the community." You can't save a community that does not honor and respect men or the warrior class. You can't have it. And that's why I tell men, you got to do what's best for you. You got to change the law in your mind and not tolerate the level of disrespect that so many men are getting now.
That's how she's going to function.
Do you think women typically are happier as housewives rather than a career?
Well,
depends on the career.
No,
Depends on the man.
The answer is absolutely and utterly yes, because giving life is the most beautiful thing a female can do. That's what you've evolved to do. That's the thing that men cannot do. I think that women who focus on having children and do their best to be good mothers in the end are the happiest females on the planet.
Being a mother and being a housewife is kind of different, though.
Okay, no, but it's essentially the same thing. If you're a housewife long enough, I'm going to assume you're going to end up having children. And I think that the sooner a woman has children, the better. If she can find a good man and have a child, that's a fantastic thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I don't see the point in a woman slaving away for a corporation that doesn't care about her as opposed to slaving away for her own flesh and blood. I think that's a complete waste of a life. I think if men are already doing that, why would you want to go along and do that as well?
Because a career is not just slaving away for a corporation. A career can involve a million different things.
Well, that's exactly what a career is. It's slaving away for a corporation that doesn't care about you. And I understand you have to pay the bills, and I understand you don't want to be completely sufficient. You want to be self-sufficient. You don't want to be dependent on a man. I understand all that. But in an idealistic scenario, in the vacuum of ideology, if you could sit and be a woman and focus on having children or focus on doing a job, I think on a long enough time scale, you're going to be much happier with your progeny as opposed to working a job.
Can I ask you a question? Because I feel like we talk a lot about hoes, we talk about a lot of the extreme. There's a lot of gray matter in the middle.
Sure.
Where a lot of women kind of get lost.
Yep.
For example, I think that one of the issues sometimes that I hear a lot about, and I personally may say I feel it sometimes, is that when you're also a quite educated woman, intellectual, intelligent, whatever, smart, a lot of the time, naturally, you speak in a way that stands out from other people, right? And I find that a lot of the time, that kind of intimidates some of the man them, where they start thinking, this girl is a bit too much. Now, it is not my fault that I'm smart. It's not my fault that I can put one and one together very nice.
But being educated does not mean that you are smart. Being educated does not mean that you are smart. You understand a pedagogy, but it does not mean that you know how to apply and disseminate information and knowledge across all spectrums. A lot of women and men have educational degrees like myself, but are they able to apply those degrees to the real world and get real life outcomes? You have a lot of educated fools. Even theology say they profess themselves to be wise, but they became fools because they were educated in the things concerning the rudimentary issues of life, but they were not educated in the soft skills that understand the psychology of men. And that's the problem, and that is a problem. And I appreciate Billy the Kid. He said, share this great black man's content, support the channel and your YouTube, Facebook groups. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. But yeah, men don't necessarily care about a woman. I would say, I know some do, but I think most guys that are confident in themselves are not going to care as much about a woman's education if she's feminine and respectful. But she's pushing her education and more or less has an ego, then that's a problem.
Very quickly. What kind of man is going to handle that?
Give me a minute.
This woman laughs like I don't speak 4 languages and got 3 degrees. Now I thought.
What is she trying to say? You're not smart.
It's okay. I speak how I do for a reason. So please, sir, can you help me out? I'm trying to find a husband, the kind of beast that can handle a woman like me.
Well, this is another point.
And what men don't understand, most men ain't got time to damn be handling no woman. Either you are or you ain't. Who has time to handle an animal? Just don't have the time to do it.
Right? And I'm only answering generally, right? Because this is the first time I've met all of you ladies. You've all been very polite to me. You've all been very nice. I'm just talking generally. And I'm going to answer it based on your last sentence. Your last sentence was handle a woman like me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the average man's life like I just discussed earlier, how difficult it is, how competitive he has to be, and how many problems he has to fix. Do you think he wants to handle any woman?
Right.
Okay, so...
like the idea of any degree of problem, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like the point of having a woman as a man, for me at least, is for her to be my peace and quiet.
Yes.
My life is stress.
Right.
You see me, I'm rolling around with fucking security teams and I got problems and they're after me and when I come home to my chick, the last thing I want to do is have to handle anything.
Right. A man needs a woman that will compliment him. A man needs a woman that will compliment him, not cause him animus and distress. Compliment, not cause distress. And that's a succinct difference between the two.
I want her to sit the fuck down and her make me happy. She used to be my positive energy. She used to be my sunshine in the rainstorm.
Okay.
So you're talking about him handle you. I don't know. I can't answer the question exactly. But if you're sitting there constantly arguing over small points or correcting him or that, he's probably thinking, this is a battle. I don't have the energy for another fight.
Okay, so now let me add extra context to what I mean as well. So obviously submission is something that people talk about a lot.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a logical person, I believe, and I submit with logic. I don't submit by default because there's a level of respect that I believe I need to have to be able to submit. Obviously, it's not that I go around and I disrespect all men and everything, but I find that my level of
A house or a laptop? Which one do you think is worth more? Well, definitely not the house.
thought process a lot of the times.
It makes it hard. No. So I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, but you need to find a man you truly respect to submit to him, and I completely respect that. And that's the same with 99% of women. Like you're never going to submit to a man you don't respect. And respect is ultimately important because you're not going to sleep with a man you don't respect. You're not going to be attracted to a man you don't respect. Respect is the bottom line of it. And the man has a job to do. He has a duty to do to be worthy of respect. But this all goes back into a very interesting point. Some of the points I've kind of mentioned earlier. If I was a woman, if I was a chick, the chance of me ending up in a relationship with a man I don't respect is 0%. I don't understand how you girls end up. Well, I do understand how you girls end up here. You end up here because of feminism, promiscuity, promises that running around taking dick is fine, dumb shit, stupid decisions. I'm independent, so it doesn't matter that he's a dummy. Bunch of garbage. When you should be waking up going, you know what? I'm going to be extremely selective, and I'm going to take my time and be very, very smart because you're the gatekeeper. By the time you're in a relationship with somebody, you should have immense respect for that man. Absolute immense respect. You shouldn't be able to get there any other way. The only reason you got there is because you've been tricked by society and lied to and told a bunch of fucking bullshit. So, so you're talking about submission and respect. Yeah, it'll come when you meet the right man, naturally. And this is another point I make because I have a lot of men message me.
Scales and how someone may view you for this, that, and the third. Okay,
All right, so Brittany's trying to get advice, and then we're going to end this in a minute. Thank you guys for tuning in, but hold tight.
Moving forward, then what? So, okay, so I'm just gonna, like I said, make it about myself. I'm 30, single, mom. My fucking checkered past is all over Instagram. You know what I mean? I have people like you who are, she's a hoe, she's literally known for this. Okay. So what would be your advice to people like me then?
But I don't believe in grey area. I believe black and white. So
Okay,
I'm
well,
just
that's
different.
unfortunate because there's gray.
I don't believe in grey area.
There's gray. There's gray in life.
To answer, wait,
Go
I'm
on,
going to answer
let
your
her
question.
answer,
I mean, I just think there's consequences for your decisions. And I just think, like, my best advice would be to, like, lower your standards. Like that. Because I just think there's going to be consequences for putting, you know, promiscuous stuff on the internet.
Okay.
And you probably won't get the type of guy that you could have got at 22.
Do you know what,
21.
sister?
It wasn't meant to be then.
Do you know what I'll tell you? I would say, because I'm 30 and I'm single out of a situation that actually is not because I was a hoe and I was doing whatever. People can't call me that. I made it by decision to be with somebody that hurt me a lot, and I stayed for 5 years. I came out super late. And do you know what I realized? What I learned is that I know now that I have to be selective and I have to think. If me taking longer to get to that stage is what it takes, then that's what it takes. You accept your future, you accept everything with gratitude, because as long as you're breathing, that's the most important thing. At least you've got your child. I am not afraid because I know the quality of woman that I am. I know my value regardless of whether I'm 30, 40, 50. Yeah. Do you understand? So you don't be afraid by other people's time limits and limitations and all of these things, because it actually doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why.
No, but your value goes down as you get older.
That's according to you.
No, but I'm saying to men, and you have to understand.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Older.
Because since Mr. Andrew Tate explained something about status, I understand very well what that actually means. And as a woman, the quality and the value that I hold for myself is actually the kind of value and quality that a man will.
But sweetie, you cannot equivocate your value for the value of a man. Your value does go down as you get older. You cannot equivocate your value towards a man because you said so. He determines if your value is important to his life and for him. As she's getting older, her value will decline because the SMV for most men is youthfulness. The SMV for most women is status and money.
Appreciate the status it will bring to him whether or not I'm a virgin, because I've worked on myself to be a woman of quality and substance. I respect myself and I handle myself as such, okay? And that is the way that you're going to actually overcome all of these bad mistakes that you've made, because who you are right now actually will make a difference if you stick to it and if you mean it and if you've always been that way. There's always another story for everybody. It doesn't matter. You'll be fine.
Do you know what I would-
Just find somebody that's more emotionally mature.
Do you know what I would have said to you?
What
I
are
would have
you about to say, Andrew? Because you just started speaking.
I was
wanna-
going to say...
Andrew, she
I
said.
said Andrew.
Oh,
I want to
sorry.
hear. I really because you've been through a lot in your life. I like when she told me that you were going to be on and we were going to be on this panel together. I started watching a bunch of your videos, and it really was like there's so much that you have been through, which is why you have a well of wisdom, right? And the difference between me and you is that you're glorified for it, and I am burned at the stake for everything that I've been through. And it's so funny because people have always said that we were two sides of the same coin as far as like, well, if Andrew Tate gets banned, Brittany Renner should get banned because we are all about accountability and fucking truth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been through a lot. I've been through a lot. I'm seen as used goods. You're seen as a high value man.
Yep.
So if you're me, then what? What's next?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's interesting you make that observation, and you are correct. That's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. It's unfair, I guess. The world's not fair, but that's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. Men are respected for going through things and surviving, and women are the complete opposite. They're shamed for going through things and surviving. If you look at women love scars on men for a reason. He's gone through something. They're lived.
War wounds.
Yeah, men don't want a chick covered in scars. I'll say this right now, that a woman, the more trauma she goes through, the more masculine she naturally becomes. And if you were to give me my ideal woman, I would not have wanted her to have a hard life and a bunch of trauma. I like the idea of her having a soft feminine life and being a soft person, and I can take care of her and protect her. Whereas as a man, to be a good man, you need to have been through a bunch of trauma, because if you haven't been through trauma as a man, you're a weakling. You have to have been through a bunch of shit. So the masculine and the feminine is a very interesting point there. As for, I don't know your history. I don't know the past, but we can just talk in generalizations in regards
People
to
like me, I guess, under the same umbrella. It doesn't have to be personal.
I don't know any of it, but we'll give generalizations. One of the main reasons that men are scared of a female with history is because it makes the man insecure, and scared dogs bite. So this is why men will snap or get angry quick, or they'll bring up if you get in an argument with him, he'll bring up your history, whatever. But a lot of it is insecurity, and it's not insecurity because the man is insecure. The women, the
right. He's not insecure by default, but he doesn't feel secure with the woman that's giving her body to so many men. He's not an insecure man by default, but he doesn't feel safe in the proposition that all these men had the woman that I value and loved and made my wife. And they don't damn understand that. They give it away for free, but then they want a man to love and honor them. And men, we're not wired to accept that, especially if you're a masculine man. The more masculine you are, the more you're going to demand from a woman.
female paradigm in society convinces men, any man who says anything, you're insecure. It's not insecure in that way. It's insecure in a very realistic, logical way. Like I was saying earlier, she's had a lot of life experience.
Shout out to my man Top Gun. He said that what men want means jack blank to them. And you're right, man. That's the selfishness, Top Gun, and the minimization of masculinity. You're 1,000% correct.
Let's be honest. Am I the richest guy she's ever had? No. Am I the most famous guy she's ever had? No. Am I the best looking guy she's ever had? No. Like, what's keeping her here? And then part of it comes down to, well, am I second place? If she could do better, would she do better? Like, there's a whole bunch of insecurity involved. And that's where tiny things, like I'm talking, I know it sounds like dumb shit, tiny things about the favorite car brand become more important than ever, right? It's your job as a woman, regardless of how much sexual history you've had or what guy you're with, etc. It's your job as a woman to make your man feel secure in the fact and make him feel like a man, like Auntie was saying, make him feel like the man no matter what he does, so that he feels like you really truly believe he's the best choice for you on the planet. That's your job to do. Now, if you've had a checkered past, that's perhaps more difficult. You need to be more tactful with it, more tactical about it. But you have to achieve the same result. You have to do the exact same thing, right? So, yeah, it's easy for me if I get a 21-year-old virgin from some village in Slovakia and I'm multi-millionaire Andrew Tate. Of course, it's a very easy, she's never had better. She'll never get better. She's never been anywhere. Boom, boom, easy one, right? But like you said, the world's not so idealistic. The reality is that people have had relationships, et cetera, et cetera. But a man is happiest in the relationship when he feels like man of the house and when he truly feels like you believe he's the best man that you could possibly ever get and have ever gotten. Because a man is jealous. I'll tell you something. I used to say this to girls as like a joke. And I used to say,
truth in
I used to say, no, but I say it's a joke. So you cheated on me before I met you. And she'd be like, what do you mean? I didn't even know you. It's like, yeah, you fucked that guy before I even knew you. You cheated on me. And they used to laugh, whatever. But that's how men think.
Right.
That's the male mind. Like, I love you. And you've been fucked by who? But I didn't know you. I don't care if you knew me.
Right.
You should have waited. What do you mean?
Right,
But
right,
that's the male
right.
mind. So he is in competition with all of your exes and all of your lifestyle and all the things you've done permanently. And it's down to you as a woman to sit there and go, how do I make him secure in himself and secure in his masculinity and make him believe that investing in me is still worthwhile because I still truly value him, despite the fact that I could do X, Y, Z. I hope that gives some clarity, but that's the answer.
Do you know what I would have said? I would have said, oh, for anybody in that situation.
And guys, that's why theology called it fornication. That's why the Bible called it fornication. Because you were never, regardless if you know that man, it was never your right to give your body to other men. See, when a woman say, I value my body and I value myself, I'm going to preserve my body for my future husband. Yes, you don't know him. That's why it's called chastity, because you don't know him. But even if you didn't know him or did know him, even if you did know him, what are you giving that man? But a woman will damn come to you and say he cheated, but damn, they cheated. Because when they gave their body away to multiple men, that was them cheating on you. She cheated because she did not preserve herself for that one man and that man only. Something that your mothers, your grandfathers got and great-grandfathers got, which were chaste women that didn't give their bodies to multiple men. But now you got to come in that damn relationship and compete with her demons, her ghosts, and her past. But yet she'll get mad at you and damn talking about you cheated. But many times they're the ones that cheat because they gave their virtue away for free. That was the exchange. The exchange for the man was to give that virtue only to him. And you guys know they lie about it. All of them lie about it for the most part. But they'll lie about it and say, you cheat. No, you're the one that damn cheated because you cheated that man out of choice. But they don't want to hear that conversation.
Come off social media and just raise your child. So the person who meets you's got nothing to. Like, I never knew you. I never knew who you were because I've never heard of you before. So when I spoke to you, by the way the way you're saying like what's on the internet, let me just say, you're a nicer person than what you sound like what you perceive to be. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, oh, that Pearl's got, oh, there she's a whore, and I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about you. And I was saying that if you didn't have nothing on social media about your checkered past, and you met somebody the same way how I met you and I conversed and I got to know you, is the same way that they would.
Yeah, and it is interesting, and it's also back to the masculine and feminine, right? Because I'm all over the internet, and supposedly I'm misogynist and I'm evil and all this crap, right? But if I meet a girl, even if she disagrees with me, in fact, I'll say this, I've never, ever met a single female who's ever come up to me and disagreed with me. Every woman comes up to me and loves what I says. But let's imagine I met this imaginary girl, she was sitting with me. And if I were to have a 10-minute conversation with her, by the time I explain the level to which they tried to destroy me, how they tried to freeze all my bank accounts, raise illegal charges against me, put me in jail for things I didn't do, put a travel ban, take my passport, all this garbage. By the time I explain how hard they tried to hurt me and failed, she'll want me. Because she'll be like, you can't kill this guy. And that's going to be it. Like, you say a bunch of shit I don't like, but you know what? You're the man. So it is about experience, and it is different. And that's a really good point about social media. Social media amplifies all of this shit. It amplifies all these problems. Everything we're discussing, everything we've discussed back to the beginning, from status to promiscuity to your past, it's all social media. Without social media, a lot of it goes away.
Yeah. And I think that's why me and my man last so long, is that he doesn't do social media and there's nothing on there about me.
I feel like, to answer your question too, because I have had people say that as a solution, and it's like, you can run but you cannot hide from the truth. And I have shared that why my voice has been so impactful and will continue to be impactful is because I have put myself out there and I have been punished for being honest. So it's like, I have been given a platform and a voice for a reason. Even sitting down in this conversation thinking there's not one person I'm probably going to agree with and probably going to want to leave, I've been called here for a reason. So it's like, I can't go against what is in my heart and what I am coded to be. And that's why I feel like it's important for me to sit here and represent people.
Here are Navy SEALs 3 rules for surviving a real-world assault. Rule number 1, always fight.
Who feel like me, because it's like, I don't want to say I didn't choose. I don't even want to say that.
I just feel like I don't see a lot of women under my umbrella who feel the way that I feel. I don't see opinions shared that would be worded the way that I feel. Nothing. I feel like a lot of my thoughts are very unique, and it's kind of scary because I have been through different things. I see the world in a different place, and when I even speak online, people think I'm fucking speaking Swahili.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and I know exactly what you're saying, and you're making good points. And it's just, I think that regardless of whether, like, we're talking about different positions. I compare everything to chess. I know it's annoying. We're looking at different positions on the chessboard, but the rules are still the same, right?
Okay.
No matter how bad your position is or how good your position is, you're still trying to achieve the same objectives. And you want the man to get high status, and you want the man to feel secure in himself. And I think it's very difficult. I can only talk from the male perspective because I am a man. It is very difficult if I were to meet a woman who I liked very much, but she had X whatever, past whatever. My concerns would be, how do I know that I'm still the number one? How do I know I'm most important in her life, especially if I don't measure up in certain key metrics? And two, the second thing that's most scary for men is we understand that men are constantly after what we have. Like, your inboxes are all full. Like, they may not be with guys you want to reply to, but guys are still trying to get it. That's the male life. The male life is people are trying to take everything from me. And that's very scary. And you have to make your man really believe like that's impossible. If a man truly believes that nobody can take you from him, he's going to love you in a different way. You can give me 2 carbon copies of the same chick, but one I think might cheat in the right circumstances, and one I know no matter what would never leave me. The love I'll feel for this one is a different planet to the love I feel for this one, even though they're the same person, right? Because that's every man's biggest fear, is a woman cheating or leaving, because there's something visceral and something different about it. I know I talk things and I say men can do things and women can't and all this stuff, but like, if a woman cheats on a man, that hurts the man at a level that it doesn't hurt the woman if the man cheats on her. It's different. It's different biologically. It's different evolutionarily. Like, that's what men used to fight and die over. You talk to my chick. You look at my
cut
chick.
his dick off.
Yeah, it's.
And Andrew Tate is right. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And that's why so many men struggle. A lot of you men struggle when you get with a woman and you thought she was a chaste woman. That's why I said, guys, if she lied to you about how many men she's been with, she's cheating on you. She's cheated because she cheated you out of choice if she knew that you weren't going to marry her. Men by nature are not wired to have the thought of other men entering their woman. It goes against our nature. And so when she lied to you about something so sacred to you as a man, now you can't respect her as much as you used to. But see, women now, because of liberal indoctrination, they don't damn get it. They don't get it. They don't want to get it. And as Top Gun said earlier, they don't give jack blank about what men want. They don't care about what we value and want. But yet these are the same women that come on YouTube and Facebook and talk about, oh, he cheated. But did you tell that man the truth about your past? Did you trick that man into a relationship? Did you lie to other men about your misgivings? Because if you didn't tell that person the truth and you used deception, then you cheated on that man. You cheated before by being with so many other men, and you're cheating if you told that man a lie. That's a damn form of cheating. But they'll get on YouTube and be the victim. Hold tight.
It's like you demasculinize him on every level. Like, and this is why you see these TikToks, right? You see these TikToks. Me and my man went on a break, got back together. He fucked 20 girls, and now he's crying because I went on a date. Yes, completely yes. Because the damage level is different. It's just a different thing. So you have to understand the paradigms. You have to understand to play the game. And that's how you make men happy.
And what Andrew is talking about is the penetration principle. Men are wired to be seed spreaders, but we're not wired to have the thoughts of other men entering something that we value. Because now he's using her body as a container to imprint her. But see, women on the flip side can't respect a man if he's been entered by a man, because a woman want to look up to a man, not see him in a submissive position on his knees to another man. It goes against a woman's nature. But see, we don't want to have these conversations. Or a woman tries to say, oh, you're just insecure. No, yeah, right, boo. I don't feel secure knowing that you have a bunch of men inside of you. So that makes men not feel safe in that relationship, because there's nothing special about it and there's nothing wholesome about it, because it's used up. But they want you to pay full value for something that's used. That's why virgins have higher premiums.
And I know very well how I like to believe that I would know very well how to make a woman happy. And I know, and whether I do that or not is a conscious decision. And that's where you get to a certain level of grandmastery, where if I get a woman, I will literally decide out of 10, how happy do I want her? Does she deserve to be happy 10? Or should I keep her like crying half the time? That it's very conscious, and women don't think that way. But I'm saying if you're a cunning woman, you could be like that. You could be a bit more like, you know what? I want him infatuated with me. This guy ain't worth the time. That guy I want. And then when you're going to do that, just like the game of chess, if you play chess, it's not big moves that make you lose. It's small positional plays. It's that time you argued about your favorite car. It's the time you disagreed with him about the favorite band. It's the dumb shit that adds up. Whereas really, truthfully, if you're truly smart about the game, you can get him to a point after a few months where he's like, she's my soulmate. She loves everything I love. We think the same. Our hearts are connected. Boom. And then you're safe. Just don't fuck it up from there. That's the game.
But I just feel like it's so contradicting to feel like what your overall message is, which is about truth. So it's like if my truth, like if it can be destroyed by the truth, it should be destroyed by the truth. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like why it's really mind-boggling to me, because I feel like how could you even be mentally, emotionally, sexually stimulated by a woman who is just agreeable and it doesn't have her own mind. I just don't see that.
That is exactly what every man wants. We don't want you to be complete robots. We're not saying we can't have a joke with you. We can't say we can't have a laugh with you. We're not saying you can't have a personality. But when it comes to things like agreement, there is not a single man in the world who's going to say, she's too agreeable. She just agrees with me on it. She agrees with me on all the important things in my life. She's too agreeable. I want someone else. Fuck no. You're completely and utterly wrong on that point. It's a huge point. This idea that, I understand if you're a complete doormat and you set no standards, men might walk all over you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about agreeability and agreeableness as a whole.
Right.
Men
On
love
the
the
things that
idea
are
of an
important.
agreeable woman because it gives status and it makes the man feel like he's a teacher and it makes the man feel in charge and it
Right.
satisfies his ego.
Right.
And to you, they may be small, little, tiny points, but to him, they're a big deal. If I were to sit, I'm telling you right now, if I were to sit with one of my chicks or whatever, or my chick, and I'll just sit in the Lambo and say, Lambo's the best car of all of them. I prefer the Lambo. And she goes, I don't like that one. Da, da, da. I'm like, listen, I bought them all, and I fucking said this is the best one. Shut up. And it would annoy me because that's my reality. I want her to become part of my reality. It's the thing. And you talk about truth. It's interesting because the truth of your heart and the truth of your soul is to be happy. That's truth. Truth is for you to end up happy. Now, if you have to sit there and agree on a especially on a subject you don't give a fuck about, right? If it's something you care about and you are very knowledgeable about, if it's ancient Roman history and you have a degree in ancient Rome, then fine, argue the point. But if it's cars or something you don't even give a shit about,
Make it easy.
You're missing the chance to get points on the scoreboard, an easy free throw, and you're just fucking it up, going, why? What?
Nah,
The truth is just play the game and win. That's
Andrew,
the truth.
Andrew could be the best female dating.
Or just learn a couple of words like how many talks, horsepower.
Yeah,
just throw some words in, like
With
how
all
much
due
horsepower
respect,
has it
though,
got?
That's it.
Tate, with all due respect, not all men are like that. Some men respect a woman that has her own mind. I know you and the type.
All right, so here's a quick quiz. Which one of the following foods is absolutely killing your testosterone levels? Eggs,
of men that you're speaking.
What this poor child don't understand, he's not saying that a woman cannot have her mind, but a woman mission is for the mission of her husband. Shout out to Dr. Thunder. The gospel said, let this mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. When you go by the order of things, man, woman, God, Christ, man, woman, and children, Christ had the mind of God because he lived his life to please him. Man is supposed to have the mind of Christ because he lives his life to please him. Woman's supposed to have the mind of her man because she was created for him, by him, to please him. Woman is the glory of man. Man is the glory of God. So we live our lives to please that person in order that's above us. It does not mean that a woman cannot have a voice. Yes, she can have a voice. But her mission is to the mission of that relationship, not her own selfish needs. And that's what modern women don't get. We're not saying you got to be a Stepford wife, but you do have to understand order and submission and your purpose, the purpose of your mission and the purpose of relationships. That's why I tell men, if you're a traditional man, do not marry or date modern women. It goes against your hard drive.
On behalf
Let
of,
me tell you something.
like a woman that
I understand.
will just be so agreeable to everything he says. But like I've dated men that just respect that I can make decisions.
Let
and
me-
will actually
Submissive
ask for
women
my
have their own
input.
mind.
Yeah, completely. That's the first
There's
point.
sometimes that he might be discussing stuff that he might want to be discussed, and there's sometimes we're like, shut the fuck up and let me say what I've got to say.
Yes,
And
completely.
maybe I don't even believe in star signs, but my man's a Sagittarius, so all this illogical
we're
stuff
the
and
best.
feelings and emotions, and no, you don't cry about shit.
That's
Shut up,
it.
get on with it. Your head's big. Get on with it.
Completely. And submissive women have their own mind, but this is something else you have to take into consideration, and this is super important and super true. The reason a lot of women don't truly understand a lot of things about relationships and how it works with men, etc., is because men will lie to you. Men lie for the same reason you wear makeup, because men fall in love with what they see. Men fall in love with what they see, and women fall in love with what they hear. So we will lie to you. So you'll go on a date with a guy, and you'll sit there and say, I don't listen to no, I'm independent, da-da-da. And what's that man going to say?
Oh, I love that.
That's exactly the kind of woman I want. Come suck this. It's a fucking lie. That is not what he wants. It's not what he wants. I'm telling you the
he
truth
wants
of
for
what
now.
he wants. Yeah, he can't be bothered to argue with you at dinner because he doesn't. And you know what? Most men aren't smooth enough to do it. I can sit with a chick and disagree with her and be funny enough and smart enough and charismatic enough and I'm high status enough and she respects me enough to listen. But if I'm just some normal dude and I start arguing with a chick, she's gonna bounce on the dinner and say "fuck you."
Yeah.
See ya. So most dudes' dating strategy, most dudes' mating strategy is just pure agreement. Yeah. Anything to get the puss because they're fucking dorks. That's fine. That's the truth, right? A real G will sit there and say, what do you mean? I don't want to hear this shit. I'm telling you the baseline of how men truly function. If I'm expected to fight and die to protect you, because that's what is expected of me by society and of you. You may think you don't expect that of me, but if we're walking down through London in the middle of the night and two guys come up with machetes, you're going to hide behind me, knowing I'm going to die because I can't win this fight. I'm expected to die to protect you. Well, then I expect you to agree with me. I'm not here to fucking die for somebody who disagrees with me on everything. That's not what I'm here to fucking... If I have that obligation to die on the spot for you, you have the obligation to pretend you like BMWs. So do your fucking part and shut up. And that's the bottom line of it.
And you know the difference is the only difference, like he's top G, and I say the only difference between him and my man and the level of respect is money. That's the only difference.
And this is
the same way he talks, the same way he is.
I don't listen to my
but
man.
people
Of
say
course
like,
I listen to
"Oh,
my man."
my man only owns 40,000, so he can't talk to me the way Andrew Tate talks to his." Why not?
Completely. And
No, I
that's
think
it.
money
And
is a big factor though. Because,
no, it's not. In a beautiful
because
relationship.
you can't have a woman
It's
that's
not.
paying her own bills. She's doing everything for herself.
I mean, she's a man.
And then you're gonna tell her,
Of course, but I'm
"Oh,
saying...
do this." But you're different. in the
Do you
fact
not
that
work, Auntie
She
Jenny?
doesn't need to work. You take all that stress away from her.
I don't work.
Then she'll be a lot more
That's
stable.
Why does
I don't
money?
work.
Wait, why does
That's a myth. All this BS about her not working and resting her femininity is a myth. There are women in other countries that work outside the home. Go see the country of Burundi. They work outside the home because they've been raised right and trained right. They bring home the money and they still honor and respect their men because that's just who they are and that's what they've been raised to do. All this mess about her resting her feminine, you can put a woman in a house and put her on, give her diamonds on the heel. If she's not a woman that's been trained and raised to be a wife, she's gonna always give you grief and give you damn problems. So this woman don't know what she's talking about. In theory, she's right, but in reality, she's 100% wrong.
does money have to matter for submission?
That's what I mean. I don't
Because
work.
if you have enough money to make sure that she doesn't need to work, go and deal with her boss every day,
I
deal
don't
with all
work.
this stress, all these bills, then of course she's going
But
to
listen,
look up to
but-
you and be like,
but
"Oh,
this-
okay, he pays my bills." You know
My
what?
man must own
This-
about 40,000.
Like,
I don't work.
I'm like, you know what I grew up in a 1% family. I never expected a dude to pay for everything. I don't know.
I
It's
don't.
fucking
I
odd.
don't.
But and I
neither
still
do
think like, and
neither
I
do
just
don't
like my
expect a man to pay
both
for
of
my
my
life.
parents worked, but my mom still submitted to my dad. Like it wasn't.
Right.
The point is this: in every relationship,
Because they don't
that's
understand the
beautiful,
order.
every relationship that's happy, regardless of the socioeconomic scale, regardless of how rich or poor they are, regardless of how famous they are, regardless of how whatever, in every relationship where people are truly happy, pay attention. The man is in charge. He's the top G of that house. His woman makes him feel that way. She respects him for what he does, and they are happy. We're talking about me out here in the world, social media, whatever. It doesn't matter. Every man wants to be the man of his household, the king of his castle. Every single happy relationship is the same. I genuinely implore you to name a happy relationship where the woman's in charge. Name one. You can't. They end up broken up. She leaves him. Whatever. Name a happy relationship where the woman doesn't blindly say, okay, I won't go to that concert. Name one. There is only one framework in which people are happy, with the man in charge, The woman trusts and respects him enough to let him be in charge, and they're a happy couple and relationship. Any other type of relationship is a time bomb to the end. So if you want a happy relationship, that's what you should be aiming for. You need to be perspicacious enough and think about these things and sit and go, well, that's the only way relationships work. So I need to build it that way.
I think
instead of coming along and believing you're going to reinvent the wheel.
Okay, so I want to, guys, I want to hit one more topic because we're running out of time. So I want to actually give the ladies a chance to say, what do you guys disagree with from the red pill and men-centric content?
Can I go first?
No.
I'm submissive, though.
No, Brittany can go first.
I'm not really familiar with all of the topics. I'm assuming like the stuff that you guys talk about are considered the red pill. It's not even like about like disagreeing. I think I can respect someone's point of view and understand where that truth exists for a lot of people. And I just feel like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know. I don't really disagree. It's just a perspective on life. I'm not here to be like, you're wrong for thinking like that. You're wrong for categorizing, using this scale, using that. Like, it's a perspective. It's valid. And I totally see certain angles. Like, there's a lot of stuff that was said that, I mean, there's so many people on this panel. It's hard to talk, but it's like, there's a lot of things I said, okay, maybe I don't agree with just because, again, my walk of life and what I've seen and how I feel and how I choose to be empathetic towards people, regardless of whatever they've been through. But I don't really...
So it's more, for you, it's the lack of empathy sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Esther go.
You're punishing me, yeah. No worries, but we'll talk.
See, what I don't really agree with is the incel culture of men feeling like they're entitled to a woman. A lot of men don't look good. They don't got money. They don't do anything for themselves. And they expect women to want to have sex with them, women to want to be with them. Why should she want to be with you?
Let me ask you a very important.
Why?
Let me ask you a very important question. Those delusional men, do they sleep with women?
Of course not.
Okay.
But they get angry. You see them in Pearl's comments. Oh, she's a modern woman. It's like, no, she doesn't want you because you are a lowlife. Get over it. Go and work. Go.
Every day I make around $10,000, and it's all online. It's actually not from real estate. If you're someone that's
Go to the gym, go and work on yourself, go out and get a job, go and get some money.
The red pill
they just cry about it.
That's what most of the men-centric content tells guys to do. Go to the gym, get your money up, like that sort of thing. Learn game.
No, but that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is saying, oh, women are delusional. Oh, women want this. Women know what they want. If you want those women, go and do what they want. And then you'll be chosen.
You don't have to worry about the men that aren't getting laid and all the women are ignoring. Okay, yeah, YouTube comments, but besides YouTube comments, they have no voice in society and they don't exist and nobody gives a shit, right? So this is what I was saying earlier about reality slaps men in the face and shows them their place very quickly because all these men, reality is showing them their place. There are women who are disagreeable and unlikable and doing wrong things and acting badly and fucking up how to make a man attracted to them. And they're not being slapped in the face by reality because they're still ending up with a partner. So this is the point we're trying to make here. I agree. I know what you're saying about red pill. There's a whole bunch of bitter, hate-filled guys. I agree with that.
Yes. Can I just drop another comment? When I came on your show, they were in my DMs. I'm thinking, do you not have things to do with your life? Like the fact that you sit on Pearl's little comments and then come into my social media and then slide in my DMs. Like you really have nothing to do with your life.
Were they hitting on you, or were they like?
Oh no, they were calling me a misandrist.
Some girls get hit on even after they insult.
Oh no, they were calling me a misandrist because of the fact that we just don't want you. Like get over it.
But that's just the internet, though. Like I get death threats. I get like people insult me.
Yeah, but
people
it's
make
not
videos.
good
Like
enough.
it's just. I just think like you go on the internet. Duh. Like, yeah, you're gonna get insulted on the internet.
Who hasn't been
But
insulted?
it's obviously quite hard, especially when you're receiving a lot of hate from all these men.
I mean, I get it. I've had hundreds of videos made on TikTok like that go after my appearance. It happens to me like every single day.
You called a girl a
she's
whale.
a Pisces. She's a Pisces.
No, Pearl, you called somebody a whale. That is a big insult.
One. I called her a whale after she attacked me. After she attacked me, she knocks the mic out of my hand. She called me a slag. I didn't know what that meant at the time. Okay, I had no idea what that meant. She called me a slag, put the mic out of my hand. So of course I'm gonna call her a whale. You attacked me. first. That's what they never talk about. You got
Rules
called
of
a whale because you attacked me.
I missed a good episode, it sounds like.
No, it was a street interview. And this girl, she like knocks the mic out of my hand and they're pulling her back. You slag. And I was like, you're effing whale.
Drunken females.
But it was like, that was a response. I've never called someone on my show a whale individually.
But when I came on your show, you were quite rude to me. I'm not gonna lie. No, I'm not gonna lie. The way you conduct your show today was great. Today was great. But when I was on your show last time, you were like, "Why you talk too much?" I'm thinking, "Who is this woman talking to me like that?" I'm not a child. But that's the thing.
Because you kept interrupting everybody the whole show. That's what happened. You kept interrupting.
But so were you. So were you.
Because I'm the host.
Yeah,
so today it's like we have a big guest. I'm gonna let him talk. But and no offense, you're just a normal guest. And normal guests, we don't let dominate the entire conversation.
I wasn't dominating the conversation.
You probably talked 70% of the time. And so I have to interrupt you and stop you because you're talking and nobody else in the room had it.
And that's what I'm saying, guys, the lack of self-awareness. No awareness, the lack of self-awareness is what's appalling.
And nobody else in the room had a chance to talk. I understand I interrupt people, but that's part of your job as a host is to control the conversation. And if anything, I probably control the conversation less than I should compared to most hosts.
No, but I think it's the way that you were rude. You could just be like, okay, let the next person talk. You were like, why you talk to me? That is so rude.
Because we had tried multiple times to tell you nicely. Multiple times to tell you nicely, and it just kept escalating.
That is not true.
All right, guys. So I think you guys get the gist of the conversation. I'm going to end it here. I appreciate you guys tuning in on today. And and I know that modernism and modern women has become an epidemic in society. I think Andrew Tate did a good job breaking down some of the nuances of how men think. Go check out Just Pearly Things. That was a great episode that she had about 60,000 folks, live viewers. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I have to go. But guys, I hope you guys had a good weekend. And to you single men that are not married yet, I want you guys to always set boundaries, to evaluate your life and ask yourself, are you getting the outcomes that you desire in the relationship? If you're not getting the outcomes that you want in a relationship, start setting parameters, start loving yourself, start hugging up on yourself, and start demanding what you want from a woman. If, one, you've done the work, two, you're working on your body, you're working on your mind, you're working on your spirit, and you're getting the outcomes that you feel are suitable to helping you become a better man. Teddy Pendergrass once said about Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. He said that world don't get no better. Teddy said, if you can't change the world, then you must just let it be. And I think we come at the nexus point where men saying the world don't get no better, they're just going to change. If they can't change the world, they're going to let it be. In the meantime, guys, go donate to the channel. Hit the like button. We're about to sign off in a minute. I hope you brothers had a good Christmas. And I hope you guys have a better new year, because the more things change, the more things are going to remain the same. The best thing you can do to change the behaviors of some of these women, guys, is to check out and also to focus on yourself. So, guys, about to sign off. And, guys, go check out this book by my man Edward Fields called Emasculated. But in the meantime, Passport Bros, we up.
I'm tired of America, so I'm hitting Richie on the net. I got the tickets, that's a bet. We need the link, my brother set it up. Damn, I didn't had enough. Ooh, I won't lie. Can I get a little shake with them fries? My skin tone is matching your eyes. Black men, you know we like them thighs. And baby, she can do it all. Your land is my land. Cut through.
Have you been distressed or perplexed? Emasculated, a book written by Edward Fields IV. Everything that needs to be known about men in modern time. Listen, men are not complex. They are misunderstood and unappreciated. Learn what men really feel, think, and desire. Also observe their struggle for acceptance, love, and belonging. A must read for every man in this classic book by Edward Fields IV, Emasculated. Go get your copy now.
All right, guys, signing off. Once again, have a good one. The votes are in. 89 votes, and 96% of the men says that traditional men are getting tired of modern women in relationships. What does this mean moving forward? What say you?
To the bank like ha 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 ha. Go, go. Left it to the bank like ha 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 ha. Yeah, I got it in tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds. Left it to the bank like pedal to the floor, need no brake lights. In the dark, watch me make light. I'm a star, got no stage fright. Please don't get me mad, I'm a nice guy. My baby say I'm cute, yeah, I'm tight fine. I be waking up when you go night-night. In a different zone with some time. Left it to the bank like ha 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 ha. Ooh, go, go. Left it to the bank like ha 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 ha. I got it in tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds. I get it, I flip it and continue. I've been going dumb, I've been going mental. Going up, I'm on another level. All black clothes like a metal. Little this and this, little Ricky Rick. It's my grandmama, I'm her Nicky Nick. I just wanna love, but I've been hit or miss. I might up and leave, let her take a pic. Laugh it to the bank like ha 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 ha. Go, go. Laugh it to the bank like ha 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 ha. Yeah, I got it in tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50.